Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan. We'll do it in an Arisan raga, which is called Kalavati. Kalavati means the greatest dancer. It's a name for Radharani. And it's a raga for this kind of time of day. This raga, the arrangement's a little different. We sing Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan, Jai Vrindavan. Twice we sing Jai Vrindavan. And in between each set of lines, I sing by myself. I just sing Jai Vrindavan, Jai Vrindavan. And then everybody all together at the same time at once sings Jai Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Vrindavan, Jai Vrindavan. But can everybody come really close? As we've been saying, come sit on my lap. So everybody come all the way up. Because we want to have something, you should say something secret. So when you tell a secret, you have to be quiet. Bring someone close by.
Jaya
Prabhupada, Gauranga Kuritama Gopyada Kopa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshikavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Chachiha Dilika Kola Kahe Premananda Hemona Gauranga Hridoya Dhariya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Kaha Gaurangera Namore Bolo Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gaurangera Namore Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoy Amara Prana Re Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoy Amara Prana Re Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yasyaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya. Prema Bidana Padama Pumarta Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kuryat Kripaya Judi Tadaiva Sampaya Pitva Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathapta Brajabala Bapahimam Vanchakalpadarubhischa Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. It's a nice verse written by the guru of Srila Lochandas Thakur. His name is Srila Narahari Sakar. And he describes our situation very well. Katakastu maha murka siddhantan adiduskaran katam karyariti mrisha vitarkan ma krita buddha. He said that we want to hear some siddhantan adiduskaran. As we mentioned earlier, everyone likes to hear a secret, isn't it? When two little girls, 6 years old each, they meet for the first time in school, they say, "What's your name?" "Oh, my name's Sally." "What's your name?" "My name's Betty." "Would you like to be my best friend?" "Sure. I'll tell you a secret." And they say, "Did you know such and such girl likes such and such boy?" They say like that, right? Don't tell anyone. And if you go and tell everyone, then she won't be your friend anymore. Because confidentiality is a basis of friendship, and it's a basis of relationships. There has to be something confidential, something which is just between the two of us. Rupa Goswami describes this in his Upadeshamrita. He says that Guyam Akyati Prichati, of the 6 different types of loving exchanges amongst devotees, one of them is that we should share things which are Guyam. Now, I'm not exactly sure what's Guyam for all of you. Let me ask all of you, is everybody here a vegetarian? Raise your hand if you're not a vegetarian. It's okay. What about you? Fish? Eggs once in a while? No?
Earlier I used to eat, but now
Okay. So probably it wouldn't be very guyam for me to tell you why you should be vegetarian, according to the Bible, right? That probably wouldn't be very guyam, would it? But if you meet someone on an airplane or someone on the street, maybe they're a butcher from Texas, from a long family of butchers, and you speak with him about vegetarianism, that might be something very confidential. It's different for different persons. So it's a very important principle. So siddhantan adiduskaram, we want to hear something which is confidential, but tonight I have to tell you very frankly, I'm sorry, but I'm a failure. Because as he says, katakastu mahamurka. Our kataka, our speaker tonight, is a mahamurka. He's a great fool. He doesn't know anything. But there's still some hope. And that's where all of you come in. He says, katam kayaditri mrisha vitarkama krita buddha. He said, may all the Vaishnavas present, may you bless me. And by your blessings, maybe we can try to say something about a very confidential subject. I'd like to read something to you tonight from the book Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and I'd like to go in a certain direction. It's a very big subject. What time should we finish by? 8:15? Or
whatever you want.
9 o'clock?
Tomorrow morning, it will go all night.
I might do that. Be careful. We'll try to finish by 9. I think that's reasonable. We should get up in the morning and chant japa, like that. There's a big topic in front of us tonight we'd like to say something about. Prabhuji asked me to speak something about Jagannath, because I live in Jagannath, Puri. But it's kind of like, you live in Boston. Oh, so you should tell me something about Harvard. It doesn't exactly work like that, does it? But you live in Boston, so you must know about Harvard, right? MIT, at least, right? So I live in Jagannath Puri, it's true, my body is there. But what's the value of that? The value that I have, if I have any value, is from hearing the lotus mouth of my revered spiritual master and trying to serve him. And so I'd like to speak something tonight, most of which I haven't heard from him, but it's in a direction that I heard from him. And something which I also heard from him, a very special katha, if we have time for that. Prabhuji asked me to say something about Jagannath because I live in Jagannath Puri. It's like asking someone from Boston to speak about MIT. Right? So I'd like to say something special about Jagannath, not just something common, because I want to serve my spiritual master and what he thought about Jagannath. So we have a question before us tonight. If you say that Jagannath is Vrindavan Bihari Krishna, Krishna and Vrindavan, and that's what all of you say, I've read your books, that's what it says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that's what it says in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that's what it says in Padma Purana, that's what it says in Skanda Purana, so it says in so many places, you say that Jagannath is Vrindavan Krishna. Okay, if you say that, here's my question. As we say in Bengali, Kotai Radha. Where's Radharani? And it's a very important question. And it's a question we wrote a magazine about a few years ago, and we addressed it. It's something we researched for, about 15 years. And we finished that. I was very pleased that a number of scholars and very senior people came to me, and they were astonished. They said, my God, nobody's even asked this question, much less try to answer it. But my Guru Maharaj had some direction he was going in. So, Brihad Bhagavatamrita and Sanatana Goswami, in the second canto, chapter 5, text 212, he describes something about Jagannath Puri. Shri Krishna Devasya Sada Priyam Tat Ketram Yata Shri Mathura Tataiva Taparamayshvarya Bara Prakasha Lokanusari Vyavahara Ramyam. He says that this is the nature of Jagannath Puri, that just as Mathura, and here Mathura, there's a book written by Rupa Goswami, it's confirmed, called Mathura Mahatmya. And Mathura Mahatmya is all about Braj, because Mathura also refers to Braj. So here it's referring to Braj. Shri Krishna Devasya Sada Priyam Tat Ketram Yata Shri Mathura Tataiva. That just as Mathura, Vrindavan, kill it, thank you, is very dear to Krishna, so also is Jagannath Puri in the same way. That's very interesting. And then it says, but what is the nature of Jagannath Puri? Tat Paramaishvarya, Vara Prakasha. Vara means great. Prakash means it's manifest. Tat Param Aishvarya, not just Aishvarya. Aishvarya means opulence. But not just Aishvarya. Tat Param Aishvarya. Great, great opulence is manifested in that place. That's Jagannath Puri. But Lokanusari Vyavahara Ramyam. At the same time, the pastimes in that place, Vyavahara, means activities, Vyavahara, Vyavahara, they're Ramyam. They're very, very sweet. They're very, very Madhurjamoy Leela. So then, what is Jagannath Puri? And what is the answer to our question? Where is Srimati Radharani? So I'd like to go on a little bit of a journey tonight. It's actually a subject that we've spoken about and written about much more extensively than we'll be able to do tonight. But we'll just give you a little flavor of it because it's an important thing. If you say that you're Gaudiya Vaishnavas, someone may come to your temple and they may say, you're Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and what do you have this Jagannath Baladev Subhadra there on the right? Where's Radha? Huh? As Dhyan Chandra Goswami, a great disciple of Gopal Guru Goswami, who lived in Jagannath Puri and is described by Thakur Bhakti Vinod in his Jaiva Dharma. As he wrote in his Guru Govinda Smarna Archana Padati, very famous book about how to worship Radha and Krishna. Dina Radha Prasadena, Krishna Praptir Najayate. Vina means without. Vina Radha Prasadena. without the prasad, without the mercy of Radha, Vina Radha Prasadena, Krishna praptir, prapta means to get, to obtain, vijayate. It doesn't happen. You can't get Krishna. Tata Shri Radhika Krishna smaraniyo susamyuto. And therefore, we should always smaraniyo, we should always remember Radha and Krishna together. But when we see Jagannath, we don't see Radha. How is that? And furthermore, how is it that Jagannath is the Ishtadev of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? You may say, well, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he visited many temples. When he went to Karmakshetra, he offered obeisances to Lord Karma. He was there. He offered obeisances to Lord Nrsingadev and other places, and sometimes to Lord Shiva, and sometimes to Durga, and like that. So when he went to Puri, he offered obeisances to Jagannath. But we're not completely satisfied with that, because Jagannath Puri Dham is the place, first of all, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Krishna's three desires, this is a very postgraduate subject, we need a lot of foundation for this, but Shiradaya Pranaya Mahima Kiddhisovanayaya Viswadyoyina Bhuta Madhuri Makiddhisova Madhya Sokyam Chashamanana Bhava Kiddhisam Datilo, but Tabhavaja Samajani Satchigarva Sindhu Harindu. Three different reasons. In the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the 6th verse, it describes three different reasons why Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this verse alone is a very, very big subject. My Guru Maharaj spoke about extensively. He wanted to know what is the Pranaya Mahima, the glory of Radharani's love. And why is it Pranaya in particular? He wanted to know, what is it that Radharani sees in me that she's so attracted by? And what is it that she tastes? Sokyam Chashamanada Bhavata. What is the happiness that she gets from worshiping me? And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says it was for those three reasons that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to this world. And he says those three desires were fulfilled, not in Navadvip, not in Vrindavan, not in South India, not in Gaya, but they were fulfilled in Jagannath Puri Dham. What is the nature of Jagannath Puri? My Guru Maharaj used to say that if you want to understand Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have to understand Srimati Radharani. That's not such an easy thing. Don't think that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here to sell vegetarian veggie burgers and teach about reincarnation or something. That's his purpose in coming. He's the last limit. He's Bhakti Naipunya, the last limit of Godhead. He's a combined form of Radha and Krishna. He's a combined form of Madhanakya Mahabhava Moyi Radha, and therefore he's Maha, and he's Prabhu Krishna because he's Rasaraj Krishna. He's a king of all conjugal mellows. He's a combined form of those two things. And he fulfilled his desires in Jagannath Puri. So if we want to understand Radharani's mood about a place, we can look to the Garga Samhita. When the demigods came to Krishna, and they said, we got big problems, and we need you to come and solve the problems. Krishna said, yes, I'll go, and I'll defeat the demons, I'll do everything. And Radharani was quiet. Krishna said, hey, my Pranavallabha, Radha, what is it? And Radharani said, it's okay. You're a Surat, you're independent. You do whatever you want. But I have to tell you, if you leave me here, I'm going to die. I can't live without you. And Radharani and Krishna said, no, 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 no. You'll also come. And then Radharani objected. I can't go. She said, Yatra Vrindavanam nasti, yatra no Govardhan nasti, yatra no Jamana nadi, tatame manasuk. I have no manasuk, no happiness. Mark it where these three things are not found. The Vrindavan forest, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River. We don't see, not to be offensive to anybody in Boston, but do you see Radharani walking down Boston Commons very often? Commons? We don't see Radharani in Boston. We don't see her in Estonia or Moscow or Paris or other places. Radharani likes Vrindavan. Maybe Krishna might leave Vrindavan. But we've never heard of Radharani leaving Vrindavan. And Raghunath Das Goswami was our Prayojanacharya. He's described in his Swaniyama Dasakam, his 10 vows that he wrote at the end of his life. These are the things that I live by. These are my 10 solemn vows. He dedicated 2 of them to this point. Please hear. Trying to remember the tune for this. Anadrutyod gitam api muniganaivanikamukai. Anadrutyod gitam api muniganaivanikamukai. There we go. Pravinam gandharvam api chagnigamais priyatamam ya ekam govindam bhajati kapati dambikataya tad abhyarne sirne kshanam api nayami britam idam. He said, not for one moment, not even for a second, am I going to go close to some hypocrite who only worships Krishna and doesn't worship Radharani. That Radharani who's glorified by the Vedas, the Nigama, Priyatamam, and the great sages headed by Narad, and his Priyatamam, who's most dear to Krishna. He says, Bratamidam, this is my vow, my solemn vow. And then he says, Sada Radha Krishna Chaladatula Kela Stala Yugam Brajam Santyai Jaitad Yuga Virahito Pitrutim Api Punadwara Vatyam Yadupatim Api Proda Vibhavai Spirantam Tadvacha Pichanahi Chalam Ikshitam Api. He said, even if I can't see Radha and Krishna, even if I have to suffer so much separation from Radha and Krishna, I won't go, not even for one moment. I'll never leave Braj. Even if Krishna is in Dwarka and Krishna sends me an email, hey, come, I want you to come right away. I said, I won't go there. But, he says in the next verse, Gaton madai radha spurati harina slista hridaya sputam dvara vacham iti yadi shrinomi shuti tate tadaham tachai vodita matipatami brajapurat sam udiya swanta dikagati gadingrad apijavat. But if I hear that Radharani, for whatever reason, she went to Dwarka, and where Krishna's at, then whether I'm invited or not, I'm running there. Even if Krishna personally tells me to go. But if Radharani's not there, forget it. I'm not going. I have no interest. Even if he says, I have to suffer separation from the divine couple, I don't want to go. But if I hear somehow that Radharani has gone there, even if she's not asking me to go, I'm going to run there. This is the mood of our Goswamis. This is the preeminence of Srimati Radharani. So very, very important. So then why does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stay in Jagannath Puri? Srila Lochandas Thakur in Chaitanya Mangal, he says that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going 3 times a day to have darshan of Lord Jagannath. And when he was in Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melted the stone in 4 different places. Has anybody here been to Mayapur before? Raise your hand. Okay. How many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melt in Mayapur? Does anybody know? I'll draw it with my finger. 0. Have you been to Vrindavan? How many been to Vrindavan? Raise your hand. Okay. How many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not Krishna, how many stones did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melt in Vrindavan? I'll draw it with my finger. 0. But in Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu melted stones 4 times. Would you like to hear about that? When he came before Lord Jagannath, and he was standing there by the Garuda Stamba, Because it's a long discussion, why? But he wouldn't go closer than the Garuda Stamba after the first time. He was standing by the Garuda Stamba, having darshan of Lord Jagannath, because from the Garuda Stamba, he can't see Balaram and Subhadra. He likes to just see Jagannath. When he's standing there by the Garuda Stamba, he melted 3 fingertips in the Garuda Stamba. Have you seen Mataji in Puri? You've been in the temple? Has anybody been in the temple? You haven't been in the temple. You saw those fingerprints? And also he melted his footprints, and I've heard they moved those. I haven't been inside the temple. They moved those footprints to another place, and they're worshipping them now. So that's 2 places. Inside the Jagannath Mandir where Mahaprabhu melted the stone. When he went to Amarnath, Brahmagiri, and he was offering obeisances in front of the ancient deity of Amarnath, he became so ecstatic, he started rolling on the ground, and he melted the stone with his whole body imprinted. And that stone is still there today. And what's the 4th stone? The 4th one was a small rock that was given to him by a Brahmin who'd come from Vrindavan. It was a Govardhan Shila. And in Jagannath Puri, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting japa and holding that Govardhan Shila and rubbing it. And he melted his thumbprint in that stone. You can see that today in Vrindavan. And he later gave that stone to Raghunath Das Goswami. So Jagannath and Jagannath Puri are very, very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So much so that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that we've never heard of ecstasies that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited in Puri when anywhere else. We've never read about him in any Shastra. No one's ever heard about it. It's an amazing thing. Lord Jagannath is the Ishtadev of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How many of you have been to Sri Rangam before? Raise your hand. Anyone? If you go to Sri Rangam, just behind the temple, there's a small temple of Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. And if you look on the walls in that temple, you'll see written in, I think it's Telugu language. Is that right? Telugu? You'll see... Tamil. You'll see 8 different verses. What are those verses? I asked someone, they said the first one starts off, Chaito Darpanamarajanam Bhavama. It's a Shiksastakam. And it's a temple of Jagannath. And they say that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu worshipped those deities. In fact, some say that he made those deities with his own hands. We keep a little picture of those deities on our altar. In fact, it's a secret, we have a little bits of the bodies of those deities. It's a long story. On our altar also, they're worshipped by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And those deities are a little different looking. They don't look like the Jagannath we have here, but it's Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. Those are the Ishtadev of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu is in the mood of Radha. Now, how do we understand where, if you say that Jagannath is Vrindavan Krishna, then where is Radha? I'd like to say something to you a little now about secular history. We found some very interesting things. Did you know the very first worship, formal worship of the deity, historically speaking, I'm not speaking about Leela, 5,000 years ago on Braj Leela, but I'm just speaking about historical worship. The history of the worship of the deity of Radharani, the oldest worship of the deity of Radharani is found in Orissa, not in Vrindavan. In fact, the first deities of Radha in Vrindavan, worshipped by the Goswamis, and I'll explain that in a moment, it's a nice story, came from Orissa. Maharaj Prataparudra, you've heard of, no doubt. He's the dear devotee of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His father's name was Raj Purushottam Dev. And many stories and things are there about him. His son is Maharaj Prataparudra, and the son of Maharaj Prataparudra was Raj Purushottam Jana. And in the Bhakti Ratnakar by Narahari Chakravarti, he gives some history of how the original deities, the Radharani deities in Vrindavan, how they came there. We know that Govindaji was discovered by Rupa Goswami, Madan Mohan was discovered by Sanatan Goswami, but when they found those deities, there was no deity of Radha with them. And historically, there was no deity of Radha found or worshipped in Vrindavan. And even to this day, in Orissa, aside from the stories I'm about to tell you, we see that it's a government holiday, Radhastami. It's the only place I know of, perhaps in Barsana probably. But other than like that, in Orissa is the only state that I know of where they have Radhastami as a state holiday. And there's so much tradition of worship of Radha, there's so much tradition in the literature and things. And how is that? So in Bhakti-Ratnakar, it describes that Radharani was being worshipped. There was no worship of Radha with Govindaji or Madan Mohan when the deities were installed by Rupa and Sanatan. Her worship was being done, but it was done by mantra. They would just, like if you go to the very famous deity in Vrindavan. I want to say Radharaman, thank you. If you go to the temple of Radharaman, there's no deity of Radharani there, but they have a little crown for her. They have a little place for it, because they say, Krishna appeared, so we're not going to make a deity of Radha. It's not good. If she's going to appear, she has to appear on her own. Other people say that she's in the deity of Radharaman, etc. Anyway, it's another thing. So Raj Purushottam Jana, he heard that there was no deity of Radha being worshipped with Govindaji or Madan Mohan. And so he sent deities from Orissa. And when he sent those deities, Madan Mohan came to him in a dream, came to the Sevak in a dream when he sent him to Vrindavan. And Madan Mohan said, there's two deities of Radha. And Madan Mohan told his Sevak, he said, the big deity is actually not Radharani, it's Lalita. And you should give both of them to me. And so Madan Mohan, in a very clever way, he stole both those deities. Well, you can see why Krishna is the origin of the Hare Krishna movement. Right? So then Govindaji had no deity of Radha, and everyone was very unhappy. So when Maharaj Purushottam Jana, he heard about that, he was very depressed and he thought what to do. So he didn't know that many generations earlier to that, in Cuttack is a former capital of Orissa. It's not the capital today because it's kind of like Vrindavan. If you go and if you want to take a taxi to go to Lloyd Bazaar, have you ever tried to do that? You think the traffic gets bad in Boston? Because the streets are not meant for that. They're very, very narrow. So similarly, Cuttack, the streets are very, very old. So they've made Bhubaneswar, it's a new city, and now it's a pre-made capital of Orissa. That's another thing. So anyway, in many generations prior to this time, in Cuttack, there was a place called Radhanagar. And in Radhanagar, there was a Brahmin whose name appropriately was Vrishabhanu. And he had a daughter, he had a deity that he named Radha. If you're named Vrishabhanu and you live in Radhanagar, what else would you do? So he had a deity of Radha. He was worshipping like his daughter. And at that time, the king of Puri, this is many generations back, we don't know who that was, and Bhakti-Ratnakar doesn't say the name of that king. That king, he heard about the deity, he went for darshan, and the king came back to his palace, and then Radharani came to the king in a dream and told him that, I want you to bring me from Radhanagar, I want you to install me at the Chakrabeda, the boundary wall of the Jagannath Mandir. And so the king very happily did that. But over time, people forgot all about that it was Radha. And they started worshipping that deity like she was Lakshmi Devi. So when King Purushottam Jana was feeling very depressed that Govindaji got cheated, Madan Mohan took both the girls, and he's left without anything, he was thinking what to do. That night he had a dream. And that Radharani of Chakrabeda appeared to him in the dream and said, everybody worships me as Lakshmi Devi, but actually I'm Radha. And you should send me to be with Govindaji. And so he sent Radharani to Vrindavan, and later she went to Jaipur when the Muslims attacked, and Radharani and Govindaji are still there today in Jaipur. Those deities, the Radha and Lalita with Madan Mohan, and the Radharani with Govindaji, those are the first deities of Radha and Lalita worshipped in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. And they were established by Maharaj Purushottam Jana. They were sent from Orissa. So there's some connection between Orissa and Radharani. And I'd like to tell you something more about that. But I'd like to say something to you, looking at the clock, which is a very special story from my heart. I asked a few devotees recently if they've heard this story, and they hadn't. So with the blessings of the devotees, I'd like to repeat something that I heard from my Guru Maharaj. And it's a little close to my heart, because I was present 1, 2, 3, the first 4 times it was spoken, to my knowledge, ever in the West, the story. And I was present in Mayapur, not while it was being spoken, but I was in Mayapur the last time it was spoken by my Guru Maharaj. In 1994, when he came to New York, he told this story, and then later he went to Los Angeles and he told it, then he went to Bhubaneswar. I was traveling as a servant. He went to Bhubaneswar and told the story in Bhubaneswar, and then again in England when we were with him there. And he also was speaking the story of Mayapur when he left his body. This is a story that he was speaking. So maybe some of you have heard this story, I don't know. But he told us that Krishna, his nature is yeyatam mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyam. Krishna's made a solemn promise of love, that however someone approaches him, he'll reciprocate. If you worship Krishna or God in a kind of formal way, in an institutional, religious way, that's fine. That's nice that you're doing that. But he'll reciprocate with you also in an institutional, religious, formal kind of way. And if we worship him in a very intimate, sweet way, then he'll also reciprocate in that way. Not that we should imagine something or be like Sahajis. Our intimacy means that we're working under the guidance of Sri Guru. And we don't speculate. And we do whatever he gives us. Not just that I decide that Krishna's my lover, I'm going to dance with him. Like one lady from India once, in the early days, like 1968, when Prabhupada had gone back to India, this Indian lady came to the temple and she had a deity of Krishna and she was dancing with the deity in the kirtan, and the devotees thought, oh, she's really advanced. And then they wrote to Prabhupada a letter, later Prabhupada, she started rolling on the ground in kirtan and crying, and Prabhupada said, no, this is not appropriate. That if someone is really feeling that kind of thing, they're not going to display it. Because those feelings of love for Krishna is so profound, we become very shy. And we don't want to show those feelings to other people. And the devotee will even deny that they have any love. So according to the degree of someone's love, Krishna reciprocates. So we know that when Krishna left Vrindavan, and he was on the chariot, Jai Shri Radha Gopi Vallabha, he was on the chariot being taken away by a Krura. He told the gopis of Vrindavan, Ayasya, Ayasya, I'm going to return, I'm going to return. And it was only because of his words that the gopis of Vrindavan were able to stay alive. And they were crying and crying in separation from their beloved Shama Sundar. But don't think that love is one-sided, because Krishna promises, Yeyatam mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyam, that as someone approaches me, I reciprocate accordingly. The gopis were crying for Krishna. But what many people don't know, which was revealed by Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, by Rupa Goswami in Ujjwal Nilamani, by Raghunath Das Goswami in his Mukta Charit, is that Krishna in Vrindavan was also crying for the gopis. But no one knew that. Just the queens. Sometimes the queens would come together, and Rukmini, she would tell her other co-wives, I don't know what's happening to our Krishna. I'm sleeping in bed with him at night with my husband, and I'm embarrassed to say it, but he starts calling out the names of other girls. He starts saying, Gopi, Gopi, Radhe, Radhe, Saibya, why? Radha. And he starts pulling on my clothes sometimes. And he starts crying. And he cries so much, his pillow becomes soaking wet with tears. I don't know. Who is this Radhe, Radhe, Gopi, Gopi? What is this? We thought he's our husband. So Krishna had a more difficult situation than the gopis of Braj. Although we always hear about the gopis of Braj, and although as Gaudiya Vaishnavas we're more sympathetic with the gopis of Braj, in fact our Goswamis have described that in this case Krishna had it more hard because there was no one he could speak with. The gopis could speak with each other. Radha could speak to Lalita and cry, and where is Krishna? Where is he gone? What's going on? But who could Krishna speak with? There was no one in Braj who was intimate in that way, not even his wives. No one he could speak with. And so it was bottled up inside of him. And that pressure became more and more intense, those feelings of separation, until one day in Dwarka, Krishna fell to the ground unconscious. And all the residents of Dwarka became very disturbed. Everyone started speaking, did you hear? Something happened to Krishna. And he's fallen to the ground unconscious. At that time, 4 devotees came there. There was Narad Muni. There was Uddhava. There was Balaram. And there was Subhadra. And they came there very disturbed. What are we going to do about Krishna? And Narad Muni at that time, he told them, he said, I know the medicine to revive Krishna, to bring him back to his external consciousness. I have this veena, which was given to him by Krishna personally. And if I play some Braj Leela Kahani, some pastimes of Braj on this veena and I sing, Krishna will return to external consciousness. Everyone said, very good. So you should do. Narad Muni said, you don't understand. I can't. Why can't you? Because if I do that, then Krishna is going to want to return to Vrindavan immediately. So, we'll call Daruka. We'll call Krishna's chariot driver. We'll call for Krishna's chariot. And Krishna can go. Narad Muni said, you don't understand. If Krishna returns to Vrindavan now, I can't say what will happen to him. When he sees the condition of an ecstatic love and separation that the residents of Vrindavan are in, crying for him, dying in separation from him. If Krishna sees that, I can't say, I don't know. What will happen to him? Someone has to go ahead, they decided, and give a message. And tell the Brijbasis, Krishna's coming, Krishna's coming. So that when Krishna arrives, they can properly receive him. Very good. So they agreed, Uddhava, you should go. We know in the Bhagavatam, Krishna in Mathura, he sent Uddhava with a message of love to Vrindavan. And Uddhava went there and he spoke to Nanda and Yashoda and to the gopis. He went to that place known as Uddhavakeri, which is right near to Nandagaon, and is a place where Srimati Radharani spoke the Brahmara Gita, a mad raving talk to a bumblebee, which is meant for Uddhava, but spoken to a bee, which she was thinking of as Krishna. So Uddhava, you should go. Uddhava hung his head down. He said, I can't go. He said, previously Krishna sent me with a message, and I tried to console them, but I saw that there was nothing that I could say. The only thing they wanted was Krishna. I couldn't say anything to pacify them. So finally, I told them, don't worry, Krishna's returning. Krishna's coming back very soon. He promised you, Ayasya. He said that. He's coming. And Krishna never did return. So if I go there now and I tell them that Krishna's coming, they're going to say, Uddhava, you're a liar. You already told us this before. We don't believe you. They won't believe me. I can't go. So then they said, Balaram, you should go. Previously, Krishna sent Balaram to Vrindavan with a message of love. And he danced with his gopis, not with Krishna's gopis. And he also spoke with Nanda and Yashoda and all the different Brijbasis. So Balaram, you should go. You should give a message. Tell them Krishna's coming. And Balaram, he said, I also can't go. Why can't you go? He said, previously when Krishna sent me, I also, like Uddhava, I saw there was nothing that I could say to them. I saw they weren't going to live without Krishna. They were going to die. And there was only one thing I could tell them to keep them alive. So I told them, Krishna's returning, Krishna's returning. I'm just going back to Dwarka and I'm going to tell Krishna he must return. And I did. When I came back to Dwarka, I told Krishna, Krishna, they can't live without you. You must return. And Balaram, he said, I'm Dauji. I'm the elder brother. Krishna always respects me. Krishna Purbaja, elder brother of Krishna. Krishna always gives me respect. He listens to what I say. But this time, he acted like he didn't hear me. And he didn't return to Vrindavan. And if I go there now without Krishna, they won't believe me. They'll also call me a liar. I can't go. At that time, Subhadra stepped forward and she said, I'll go. She said, everyone knows that men are very crooked, but women are simple and straight. I'll go to Vrindavan and I'll sit on Mother Yashoda's lap and I'll wipe away her tears and I'll tell her, Ma, Krishna's coming, Krishna's coming, just now. On the way, some kings have stopped in their offerings and worship, but Krishna's coming. And they'll believe me. So they said, very good. So they called for Subhadra's chariot, which is Padmadhwaj. And her chariot driver, you know who her chariot driver is in Jagannath Puri? Maybe you've heard his name before. He's a fellow called Arjun. Anyway, that's her driver. And they called for Arjun. And at that time, Balaram was getting very agitated. He said, I'm also going to go. I must go also. They called for Taladhwaj. That's the chariot of Lord Balaram. And Balaram came out and he went first. This is Rath Yatra. Traditionally, Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri, Balaram goes first. And then Subhadra. And then in the back comes Chakadola, Kaliya, Jagannath, the round-eyed black one. Balaram goes first. So Balaram was going very, very fast, and Subhadra, they were so eager to return to Vrindavan and to see Nanda and Yashoda and the gopis and the cowherd boys and the cows and the deer and the Vrindavan forest. And when they arrived in the outskirts of Vrindavan, they'd been gone for so long and they saw the forest and the places that they'd grown up in. Balaram and Subhadra, they jumped off the chariot and they began running. And then they saw the residents of Vrindavan and they stopped. Some say that after Krishna left Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda was just standing in the road waiting for Krishna to return where Akrura had taken him. And that she was still standing there today. Some say that Mother Yashoda had stopped cooking and that her stove was covered with cobwebs. Because why do you cook if you're not cooking for Krishna? And the residents of Vrindavan, everyone had stopped eating, everyone was suffering in separation from Krishna. Even Govardhan Hill, who under the curse of Pulasya Muni was shrinking the size of one mustard seed a day, Govardhan Hill started shrinking much, much faster in separation from Krishna. The Jamuna River started drying up. The grass was dying. And all the plants were dying. All the birds and the deer, the cows, and the gopis of Braj. The gopis had stopped eating. The gopis had stopped taking bath. They stopped wearing ornaments. What's the purpose of wearing ornaments if Krishna can't see us? My Guru Maharaj said that the gopis of Vrindavan had become so thin in separation from Krishna that the rings on their little fingers become bangles on their wrists. And this is what Balarama and Subhadra found when they jumped off that chariot. And when they saw that, something happened to them. In general, with a conditioned soul, there's a difference between the deha and the dehi, between the physical body and the owner of the body. But in the case of Balarama and Subhadra, they have spiritual bodies. There's no difference from the inside and the outside. When they saw the condition of the residents of Vrindavan, Balarama and Subhadra became ecstatic. And something happened to them. You can see. Their eyes became very big, and a big smile came on their face, and their hands and legs shrunk inside of their body, and they manifested a form which is known as Mahabhav Prakash, or the embodiment of the greatest ecstasy. And there was no message given because they were just stunned in ecstasy. What could they say? Meanwhile, back in Braj, Narad Muni, he picked up his veena and he began to sing about the pastimes of Vrindavan. Singing like this, and suddenly Krishna's eyes opened and he regained external consciousness. And Krishna jumped up and immediately his hand went to his belt. And Krishna looked confused and he started feeling around. He said, "Where's my vangsi? Where's my flute? Those gopis must have stolen it again." And then he turned. He said, "Narad Muni, what are you doing here in Vrindavan? And Uddhava, you're here also. How did you come here to Vrindavan?" And they had to tell him, "Krishna, you're not in Vrindavan. You left Vrindavan. You're in Dwarka now." And then Krishna began to cry. "I must return. I must return. I must." He said, "Yes, yes. We've got Daruka's here. Your chariot is here. Nandi Ghosh is a chariot of Krishna. Jagannath's chariot in Vrindavan. He's arrived for you." And so then Krishna went to get on his chariot. And for those of you who are strict followers of regulated principles, you may be shocked to hear what happened at that time. But I'm sorry to tell you that Krishna was drunk. Not on wine, But he was drunk on a beverage known as Radha Madhuri, the sweetness of Radha. And thinking so deeply about Radha, he was so intoxicated, he couldn't walk. And he was swaying back and forth like this. How many of you, have any of you been to Jagannath Puri for Rath Yatra? Raise your hand. Have you seen the Pahandi, Mataji? When Jagannath comes out of the temple? Yeah. They call it the Pahandi Vijay. And when he comes out of the temple, that's what he's doing. He's swaying back and forth like this because he's so intoxicated. He's going to Vrindavan to see Radha. And at that time in Jagannath Puri, all the pandas, it's an amazing thing. There's 300-400 pandas maybe, and they all have big gongs. And they're all banging on the gong. But not like a crazy Hare Krishna kirtan sometimes, where everybody's playing a different beat. But they're all playing the same taw. Here's boom, 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 boom. And whoa, you can feel Krishna wants to return to Vrindavan. That's the message of that taw. So Krishna climbed onto that chariot and he began to go very, very fast. This is Rath Yatra. First is Balaram, then is Subhadra, and then is Chakadola, round-eyed, Kaliya, black Jagannath Krishna. Meanwhile in Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani was feeling so much separation from Krishna. It had been so long since Krishna left Vrindavan. And Radharani developed a terrible fever known as Vipralamba Jwara, or the fever of separation. And she was laying in the kunj known as Nidhivan, and she was dying. She was laying with her head on the lap of Lalita Sakhi, while Vishaka was crying and fanning her. And Radharani had lost consciousness. The fever was very, very high. And the word quickly spread throughout Vrindavan that Vrindavaneshwari Radha was dying. She was leaving her body. And so one by one, all the residents of Vrindavan were coming there, and everyone was crying, and everyone was begging Radha, please don't go, don't go. At that time, Chandravali came there. Rupa Goswami in Lalita Madhav says that Chandravali is actually Srimati Radharani's cousin. And apparently there's some similarity. So much similarity that when Krishna just sees Chandravali, he remembers Radha, and sometimes he becomes stunned in ecstasy. In the Saibhyam Bhadra, the Sakhis of Chandravali, they grab Krishna by the hand and they bring Krishna submissively to the kunj of Chandravali. And then Krishna, who's supposed to go to meet Radharani, doesn't show up. And Radharani becomes angry. And so there's always been this word that Chandravali is some competition to Radharani. So when the word spread throughout Vrindavan that Radharani was dying in separation from Krishna, Chandravali came there and she began crying. She fell at the feet of Radha. She said, hey Radhe, don't go, don't go. Some people say I'm your competitor, but it's not true. The only reason Krishna would go to my kunj is because he wanted to see your loving sulkiness known as man, your loving anger. That's the only reason he came. Otherwise, Krishna only wants you. Don't go, Radha, don't go. And a little after that, Kutila came. Kutila is a daughter of Jatila. Kutila means someone who's very crooked. She's a very crooked lady. And she's always criticizing Srimati Radharani. But when she heard that Radha was leaving her body, Kutila came there. And she also began crying and fell at the feet of Radha. And she also begged her, please don't go. She said, I've committed so many offenses to you. I always criticized you. I said, you're asati. You're not chaste because you're going with that black snake Krishna. You're cheating on my brother Abhimanyu, your husband. It's very bad. She said, but Radha, You're the most chaste. I remember, and she began telling a story, Kutila. She said, I remember one day Krishna became sick with a fever. And the word quickly spread throughout Vrindavan, and everyone was bringing doctors and medicine. And Krishna said, no, no, no. None of those things will work for me. Only one medicine will heal this fever that I have. And that's if a lady brings a pot of water from the Jamuna and gives it to me. But that pot has to have 1,000 holes in it. And if that lady is perfectly chaste, then none of the water will come out of the pot. That's the medicine that I need. When everyone in Braj heard that, all the girls became quiet. Who can step forward then? And Kutila said, then I stepped forward. I said, I'm very chaste. I'll take that pot. I'll do that. And I took the pot. I went to the Jamuna. I filled it up with water. I put it on my head. And all the water came out. And I became soaking wet. And everyone started laughing at me. And then Radha, you stepped forward. And you said, let me try. And I said, you? How can... And you took that pot. You went to the Jamuna. You put the pot in the water and you said one word, Govinda. And you put the pot on your head and not one drop came out. Srimati Radharani ki. And Kutila said, in this way, you showed that you're actually the most chaste lady in Braj. And I offended you. Please forgive me. At that time, Abhimanyu came there. Abhimanyu is the so-called husband of Radharani. It's a long story. Very interesting story, maybe some other time. But Abhimanyu came there. And he was also crying. And he said, Radhe, don't go, don't go. Some people say that I'm your husband. But actually, I never touched you. That's another very interesting story. Another thing. I never touched you. Abhimanyu actually is the shadow of Krishna, according to the book, the Radha Hridaya, which is a section of the Brahmanda Purana. It's a long story about how Radha married Abhimanyu and who Abhimanyu is. A very interesting thing. It's another thing. But he was crying and crying. Don't go. Don't go. And everyone in Vrindavan had come there and everyone was crying. And then suddenly, they could hear a sound in the distance. It was a sound of the wheels of a chariot, which was coming closer and closer. And Krishna arrived on his chariot, Nandi Ghosh. And Krishna was so excited, he jumped off the chariot to run and go to see his Pranavallabha Radha, his most beloved Radha. But when Krishna saw the condition of Radharani, that she was dying in ecstatic love from Krishna in separation, Krishna became stunned and he couldn't move any further. And something happened to him. His eyes became very big. A big smile came on his face. And his hands and legs shrunk into his body. And he manifested the form of Mahabhav Prakash. And so there was meeting, there was union between Radha and Krishna. But Radharani is in a dying condition. And Krishna is standing there. He's not moving. Brinda Devi, who's very expert at orchestrating everything in Vrindavan, she ordered a breeze to come, a very pleasant summer breeze, not like a cold Boston wind. And that very nice breeze carried the aroma of Krishna's body to the nostrils of Radha. And Lalita whispered in Radharani's ear, Krishna's returned. Krishna's returned. At that time, Radharani regained external consciousness. And she opened her eyes. But Krishna, standing there. So Vishaka knew the medicine. And she went over and she whispered in Krishna's ear. I don't know if the GBC would appreciate it or not, but she said, Radhe, Radhe. Once in a while, maybe. And then Krishna, he regained external consciousness. And there was eye-to-eye union of Radha and Krishna there in Nidhovan. And at that time, Krishna, he told Radha, to commemorate this pastime, I'll always keep this form of Madhurja Rasa Ganaiti Murti. Jagannath is a condensed form of conjugal mellow. I'll keep this form in a place known as Vipralamba Ketra Jagannath Puri. And that form of Jagannath is Radha Viraha Vidura Roop. If separation from Radha can manifest a form, that form is Jagannath. And we'll have a strange meeting there. I'll be there as Jagannath, and you'll come in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Nomi Krishna Sarupam. He's in the mood of Radha. If he's known as Krishna Viraha Vidura Rup. If separation from Krishna, that last limit of separation from Krishna, could manifest a form, that form is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And these two features, Radha Viraha Vidura Rup Jagannath and Krishna Viraha Vidura Rup Mahaprabhu, they have a strange meeting in Vipralamba Ketra, Jagannath Puri Dham, the place of separation. And it's a place, our Guru Maharaj said, where these three forms, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, they're floating in an ocean of Radha Bhav. The three logs of wood floating in the ocean of Radha Bhav. And therefore this place is known as Sri Ketra. And my Guru Maharaj said that Sri means Sarva Angsini Radhika. She's the source of all the different angsas, all the different expansions, all the different Lakshmis and queens and Dwarka and that. And that place which is known as Sri Ketra, that's the place of Radha. So these stories are there. But still, you may have some doubt. I don't know. Is Radha really there with Jagannath? We may have some question about that. We would like to hear some other evidences. So we did some research on this thing. And one of the first things that we realized was that in the Jagannath Ashtakam, which is said to have been spoken by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I did some research on this, and it seems that it was written originally by Adi Shankaracharya, not written by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as some people say. There's no commentaries written on it that we could find anywhere. And if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote it, there'd be so many commentaries. It would be included in Chaitanya Charitamrita, other books. It's not. But it was spoken and appreciated by him. And in the 6th verse, it describes, Param Brahmod Piraka Kuvalaya Dolot Fula Nayano Nibasi Nilado Nehita Charano Nanta Sirasi. Now listen. Rasanandi Radha Sarasa Vapur Alingana Sukho Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume Bolo Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume Parabrahma Pida Kuvalaya Dolot Fula Nayano. That Lord Jagannath, whose eyes are Dolot Fula, Fula means a fully blossomed flower, Nayana means eye. Dolot Fula Nayana represent, they look like fully blown lotus flowers. He's Para Brahmapita. He's the last limit of transcendence, the last limit of forms of Godhead. Nilvasi Nilada Nihita Charano Nantasirasi. He's always residing in Jagannath Puri. Although it also in the Jagannathastakam says that he's a Vrindavanabasi. In the first 2 verses, he's always residing in Vrindavan. In this verse, it says Nibasi Niladra. He's living in Niladra, Jagannath Puri Dham. Nihita Charano Nanta Sirasi. And on the heads of Ananta, he's putting his feet. His lotus feet are there. And who is Jagannath? Rasanandi Radha Sarasa Vapur. Vapur means a body. Alingana Sukho. Alingana. Do you know what Alingana means in Sanskrit? It means to embrace. In Hindi also? Yeah? Alingana Sukho. He's getting so much sukh, so much happiness from embracing Srimati Radharani. Rasanandi, he's getting all this ananda, rasa. Rasanandi Radha Sarasa Vapur, by embracing the Vapu, the body of Radha. Raise your hand. Has anybody here ever dressed Lord Jagannath in the temple? Raise your hand. I was a pujari for a long time in LA and also in Bhubaneswar, Jagannath. So those of you who've worshipped Jagannath, you've seen him without any clothes. Have you seen Radharani? When we take up Jagannath, do we see Radharani kind of stuck on his chest or something? No, we don't see Radharani there. But it says right here, Rasanandi Radha Sarasavapura Lingana Sukho. Where's Radha? What does it mean? So we did a little more research on this. And we found, just recently, a few years ago, they had the Jagannath Navakalevram, when Jagannath changes his body. And that's a very long subject. We wrote a long magazine about that. It's a whole long topic. How the new Dara was found and so many things. I'll tell you a few interesting things about it. They're given an Agyamala, the Daityapatis, who are the descendants of Brishabasu, the original pig farmer who was worshipping Lord Jagannath. Those Daityapatis, they come, certain ones of them who are selected, and they're given an Agyamala, a huge garland of Jagannath. It's like about, the garlands are maybe 7 feet tall or something, it's bigger than a person. And they wrap that around their head. And that's the blessing to go to find the tree that's going to become Jagannath. There's 3 trees. One is Jagannath, one is Bali, one is Subhadra. And then they go to a nearby temple of Kakata Devi, and they stay there. And they sleep in the temple on the floor, and they fast until Kakata Devi comes in a dream to the head priest there and tells them where the tree is going to be found. And after she tells them where the tree is going to be, then they have to look in a book called the Madala Punji. And the Madala Punji gives a description where that tree will be found, so it has to be confirmed. And then they go there, and that's not enough. The tree, there has to be a mountain near the tree, there has to be a lake near the tree, there has to be a neem tree near the tree, there has to be an anthill, there has to be a Shiva temple, there has to be a crematorium, and a couple of other rare trees have to be near that tree. There has to be there has to be 4 branches on the tree. If there's 3 branches, or 2 branches, or 8 branches, they won't accept it. It has to be 4 branches. And on that tree, visible, there has to be the signs of a Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, the 4 symbols of Lord Vishnu. In 1996, a previous Navakalevram, I went to see the tree, and you could see those 4 symbols. And the other thing it has to be, there also has to be a cobra living at the base of the tree. And if all those things are not there, they won't accept it. That's the Jagannath Dharma. It's a very long, complicated, amazing thing. So then, they do all these different rituals. They bring a golden axe to cut down the tree, a solid gold axe. It's about the size of a toothpick. And they touch it to the tree. It's not very good for cutting. And then they take a silver axe, also about the size of a toothpick, touch it to the tree. And then a fellow comes with an iron axe, and he does the hard work. And he cuts the tree down, and they cut all the branches off, they cut the bark off and things, and then they have a special ceremony. They do an abhishek, they chant Purusha Shukta, prayers. We found out all these details, speaking with the pandas who were there and different persons. And then they perform a secret ceremony, which none of the pandas today know the mantras or things for. It's just the head priest who does this. And that's called Soda Niassa. Niassa is a ceremony when you're doing a pranapratishta of the deity. It's a ceremony. Pranapratishta means a deity installation. You're bringing the life to the deity. Soda Niassa, the Niassa ceremony is you're giving the identity to that deity. You're saying, you are this person. This is who you are. We know who you are. So you touch the deity. We just did this in Kiev with Niranjan Maharaj. I was doing it for Radharani, for the small deity of Radha. Maharaj was doing for the big deity. And you take some kusha grass that's been sanctified by mantra and ghee, and you touch it to the different limbs of the deity, and you chant particular mantras. And it wakes up the deity, and it tells them, this is who you are. You are such and such a person. So that Niassa Mantra is the mantra which identifies, gives the deity the identification. And we found out what the Niassa Mantra is for Lord Jagannath, for that Dara when they do that. Would you like to hear it? Okay. Smarasham kum kumabam spurada darapata pranta klipta vaguntam ramyam veshena venikrita chikura shikalambi Padmam Kishorim Tarjanyangushta Yukta Harimukha Kamale Yunjitim Nagavali Parnam Karna Yaktakshim Tribhuvana Ruchiram Radhikam Bhavayami. Translation. I meditate on Radhika, who is the most beautiful girl in the three worlds. She has a smile on her face, and her complexion is the color of kumkum. Her veil is made with the border of her splendid yellow lower cloth. Her dress is delightful, and a lotus hangs at the end of her braid. She appears wonderful in her fresh youth, and her eyes extend to her ears. With her thumb and index finger, she's placing a betel leaf in the lotus mouth of Lord Hari. So this is the identification, the inner identification of Jagannath. On the inside is Radha. On the outside is Krishna. Because we were just reading, Rasanandi Radha, Sarasa Vapur Alingana Sukho. He's always embracing Radharani to his chest, but we don't see her there. But Radharani is there because Jagannath is Radha Viraha Vidura Rup. He's the embodiment of separation from Radha. He's Krishna on the outside, but Radha is there on the inside. And this is the nature of separation. Separation means, the very word Vipralamba, Jiva Goswami, in his Sandarbhas, Priti Sandarbha, he says that the word Vipralamba means external separation, but internal union. So Jagannath is Krishna on the outside, but Radha on the inside. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Radha on the outside, Radha Bhava Dyuti, the mood and complexion of Radha, but Krishna Swarupam. He's Krishna on the inside. These two opposites there. And there's one other pramana that we found, another secret thing. Should we tell you that also? Okay? There's a very few, even the Pandits, you go and speak with them in Puri, many of them don't know these things. They'll be very astonished. So there are a number of different deities on the temple in Puri, on the altar. Jagannath has Sri and Bhu, Madan Mohan is there, Krishna and Balaram are also there. There's a number of different deities on the altar, aside from Jagannath, Baladi, Subhadra. There's one deity that very few people know about, who's called the Shia Navagraha. He's also known as Arda Nadi Ishvara, or Arda Lakshmi Hari. He's the Shia Navagraha means he just has one job. Krishna's playing his flute, he herds the cows, that's his job. But the Shia Navagraha, all that he has to do is sleep. That's his job. He just sleeps. And the Shia Navagraha is the form of Lord Jagannath. The deity is a very small deity. He's only about this big. And the deity is made out of solid gold. I mean, it's very hard to put Jagannath to bed. He's about 7 feet tall. You think it's hard to put your children to bed. It's very hard to put Jagannath to bed. He's very, very big. So they have this Shia Navagraha, and they put that deity. Now, who is the Shia Navagraha? The Shia Navagraha doesn't have the form of Jagannath. The Shia Navagraha doesn't have the form of Krishna. The Shia Navagraha is Arda Nari Ishvara, or Arda Lakshmi Hari. Is half Krishna and half Radha. It's half Lord Vishnu and half Lakshmi Devi. And the time when Jagannath, when that Shia Navagraha does his service of being put to rest, that time of day is known as Bada Shringara Besh, or Bada Shringara Dup. Dup means incense. That's the worship they do at that time. And Jagannath wears a special dress, which I can't show you because it's being washed right now. This special cloth we have. It's called the Gita Govinda Kandua. And that Gita Govinda Kandua has words written on it from the Gita Govinda. And there's a very nice song by Madhavi Devi. I'd like to sing about that, but it's getting a little late. I think I won't do that right now. But we translated that. Madhavi Devi's one of the four most intimate associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. She's described as half. Not because she was paraplegic or something, but because she's a lady. And not because ladies are something like second-class citizens. Radharani's the best citizen, the best devotee. But she's considered half an associate because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was a sannyasi. He doesn't hang out with women. He can't do this. So Madhavi Devi is considered half an associate. So she wrote a very wonderful song about this Gita Govinda Kandu. And anyway, Jagannath in the evening, he wears this sari made out of the Gita Govinda, the words from the verses written on the Gita Govinda. And there's a lady named, what's her name? Nalini Patnaik, the elderly lady. We went to visit her. She has a very wonderful service. She grinds sandalwood paste every day, and she takes tulsi leaves, and with a toothpick, she writes words from the Gita Govinda. So she writes Radha, and that in a real language, on the tulsi leaves. And they take those tulsi leaves in the evening, and they paste them on Jagannath's heart. And that dress is known as the Bada Shringara Vesh, which Bada means great in Oriya. We say Boro in Bengali. Bada Shringara, Shringara means the Shringara Ras. Bada Shringara Vesh is dress. It's the dress of the great Shringara Ras. And at that time, every night they say that Radharani and the gopis, they come to see Jagannath. So Radharani is there. But we don't see her because Jagannath Puri Dham is Vipralamba Ketra. It's a place of separation. If Radharani's not there, then how could Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have so much ecstasy there? How could his three desires be fulfilled there? If Radharani were not there, then how is it that Sanatana Goswami would say, Shri Krishna Devasya Sada Priyam Tat Ketram Yata Shri Matarata Taiva, that just as Vrindavan is dear to Krishna, so also is Jagannath Puri. And he says, Tat Paramaishvarya Bara Prakasha, that this is a place of great, great opulence, but at the same time, Lokanusari Vyavahara Ramyam. It's a place of great sweetness. Jagannath Puri Dham, Vrindavan Dham is Madhurja Mohi Dham, the place of sweetness, the place of the conjugal mellow, and that conjugal mellow pervades everything. And everyone loves Radharani. Even Mother Yashoda loves Radharani. And she's always telling Radharani, you must cook for my Gopal. And even she gets Radharani and the gopis, and it's a dress Gopal, and that she thinks my Gopal is such a little boy. What is the harm? She has a vision of a mother like that. So that's a place of sweetness. And Navadvip Dham is Odarja Mohi Dham. It's a place of mercy and kindness. And what is Jagannath Puri Dham? In Jagannath Puri, there's three things. It's Aishvarja Mohi. It's great opulence. But there's also Odarja Mohi. There's also great mercy. Jagannath's known as Patit Pavan. He gives mercy to everyone. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's known as the deliverer of Prataparudra, and the deliverer of he's Sarvabhauma Sodana. He delivers Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He purifies him. He's Gajapati Tarna, the deliverer of Gajapati Maharaj Prataparudra Dev. It's a place of mercy, but there's a third thing, which is hidden underneath all those others, and that's sweetness. And we see that in the Gambhira, where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is hearing from Srup Damodar and Roy Ramananda, who are Lalita and Vishaka. And there in the Gambhira, he's hearing all about the mood of Radha, and he's relishing that thing. So this is Jagannath Puri Dham. And in that place, we'll find Srimati Radharani is present there. And this place is described by Sanatana Goswami in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He says, Tasmin Subhadra Balaram Samyutas Tamvai Vinodham Purushottamo Bhajet. There in that place known as Purushottam Dham, you'll find Tasmin Subhadra Balaram Samyutas. You'll find Subhadra and Balaram and Jagannath. That's Purushottam Ketra. And then he says you'll find, mark it, three other things. Chakre Sagobardhana Brinda Katavi Kalinda Jatira Bhuvi Swayamayam. You'll find the Vrindavan forest, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River. Because without those three things, Radharani says, Tapmani Manasuk, I have no Manasuk, no happiness, where these three things are not found. Jagannath Puri Dham is Gupta Vrindavan, according to Brihad Bhagavatamrita, according to Skanda Purana, according to Jaiva Dharma, according to many, many different literatures. But it's Gupta Vrindavan. It's a hidden chamber of Vrindavan. It's not that there's a sign that says Radhakund 2 miles this way. It's a place you cry in separation from Vrindavan. If you see a sign that says Radha Kund, they're not going to cry in separation. But Mahaprabhu was crying there in separation, feeling, oh, where is Vrindavan? Where is Radha? Where is Krishna? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is described in one purport, it's translated by Srila Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita. He said that these associates of Mahaprabhu, there's no record of them ever going to Vrindavan. And he gives a long list, some of which are Srup Damodar, Roy Ramananda, Sikhi Mahiti, Madhavi Devi, who else? Gadadhar Pandit. And many of the most prominent associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And said there's no evidence that they ever went to Vrindavan, but they stayed in Jagannath Puri. And Gadadhar Pandit, we understand that Gadadhar Pandit is a manifestation of Srimati Radharani. And Gadadhar Pandit is what? He's taken a vow of Chaitra Sannyas. I'll never leave Jagannath Puri. How is it Radharani is going to take a vow? I'm never going to leave Dwarka. If you want to say that Jagannath Puri is like Dwarka. It is like Dwarka. It is like Kurukshetra. In Kurukshetra is a place where there's great opulence. And Krishna goes with the members of the Yadu dynasty and all these kings. And there's so much gold and jewels and huge elephants and armies. And there's also some people from the small village of Vrindavan. And there's a meeting there. And the Brijbasis, they're seeing Krishna. And where generally it's said, Aishvarya Priti Sankuchita, that opulence makes love shrink. In Kurukshetra, it increases the love. It makes it more and more intense. It doesn't, the residents of Vrindavan, when they see Krishna with all the gold and jewels and opulence and the king, they don't fall on the ground and start offering obeisances. They said, we don't want to see you like this. We want you to come to Vrindavan. You come with us. It increases their feelings. And this is the nature of Jagannath Puri Dham. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the mood of Radha, sees Jagannath, Krishna, and then now he's been captured by the Lakshmi Mandir. Sometimes we tell people this is a definition, this is a meaning of Rath Yatra in one sentence. I tell new people, this is how you can describe Jagannath Rath Yatra in one sentence. This festival is rescuing God from mechanical religion and bringing him to the village of our hearts. That's Rath Yatra. And that's what goes on. Mahaprabhu sees Krishna Jagannath there. And he says, hey, Nahuschate Nalina Nava Padada Vinda, the only verse spoken by the gopis when they met Krishna in Kurukshetra. It's another topic. I don't want to go so much into that. But that Mahaprabhu recites that verse at the time of Rath Yatra. And basically the gopis are saying, Krishna, oh, excuse us, you become a big man now. Now you're God. Well, please accept our obeisances. And everyone's worshiping. Do you still remember your mother and your father? Do you still remember Vrindavan and the cows and the cowherd boys? Your mother's still there. Your father's still there. The forest is still there. Everyone is still there. You should be there. Come with us. That's Rath Yatra. And that's Jagannath Puri Dham. It can't happen unless it's Gupta Vrindavan. Unless the mood of Radha is there. Because Radharani is everything. Vina Radha Prasadena, Krishna Praptina Jayate. You can't get Krishna without Radha. And so we see this in Jagannath Puri. Radharani is there, but she's there in a secret kind of form. And if we don't understand this, then people may challenge you. And they say that your altar is not bona fide. Gaunitai, we can appreciate it in Navadvip, and you have Radha Gopi Vallabha, that's very nice, but this Jagannath, this is not Rasik. Some people will say like that. But now we know Radha is there. And there's a reason why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in Jagannath Puri. There's a reason why he worshipped Lord Jagannath. And so this is some of this thing. Thank you for going on this wild, crazy adventure with me, this journey. Shri Jagannath, Shri Baladev, Shrimati Subhadramai, Sudarshanju ki, Shrimad Ujara Ganaiti Murti Mahabhav Prakash Jagannath Swami ki, Shri Vipralamba Ketra Jagannath Puri Dhama ki, Gaur Premanandi, Vamsha Kalpadarubhischa, Kripa Sindhu Bhyeva Cha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.
Please, questions.
You just have to ask the temple president, because temple presidents make me very nervous. If the temple president doesn't say it's okay, if he says it's okay, then it's all right.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
It's all right? Okay. Temple presidents are very dangerous people.
Many questions, I think I would first do a question.
So you were speaking very beautifully about the connection of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Jagannath. But there's also Tota Gopinath, which is also very dear to Mahaprabhu.
Oh boy.
I know, not a simple subject or quick answer, but maybe you can speak a little something.
Tota Gopinath is, what do we say in Greek language? What is it? The beginning and the end?
Alpha, Omega.
The Alpha and the Omega. Thank you. My brain's a little dead right now. It's the beginning and the end. Because he's Sriman Rasarasara Vivam Sivatata Sri Karshan Venusvana Gopi Gopinatha Sri Istuna. That's where Gaura Lila began, with Gopinath. At Vamsivat, when he was playing his flute, and he called for all the young ladies of Vrindavan. And they came there, they came running there. And they danced with Krishna for one Brahma Ratri, one night of Lord Brahma. And then Krishna told them, Napariyeham niravadyasam yujam susadu krityam vibudaya sapiva. Usually he said, Yeyatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyam. I promise I reciprocate with everybody as they approach me. With you, you made me break my promise. I don't know how to reciprocate with you because you don't want anything. So he said in the last words of that verse, from the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, Yapratiyatu sadhuna. Let your own activities be your glory. And what does that mean? Your own activities, the activities of the gopis means the bhajan of the gopis. Let that be your glory. And the bhajan of the gopis is the bhajan of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna came and he did the bhajan of the gopis to glorify the gopis, to repay his debt. And that began with Gopinath. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to taste Radha Bhav. So he decided, I can't do it in Navadvip. Why can't he do it in Navadvip? Because it's too mixed. There's Sachimata's there, and Vishnupriya's there, and so many different people. It needs to be ekantik, one-pointed. Vyavasyatmika buddhi, eke hakurunanda, not bahusaka. Krishna's bahusaka, like anything. He reciprocates with everyone. But to taste Radha Bhav, he had to take sannyas. Sannyas means Gopi Bhav, Radha Bhav. And he left Navadvip, and he went to Jagannath, Puri. And Sachimata, she said that Nila Chali Navadvipi Jay Duigar. That Navadvip and Jagannath Puri are two rooms in the same house. So he went there, very excitedly. And Srup Damodar and Roy Ramananda were there, and there he could taste Radha Bhav. But there was a problem. Gadadhar Pandit came. Now Gadadhar Pandit is Radha. Or some say what's left of Radha after Krishna's taken her bhav. That's a very esoteric discussion, but in a simple way we say that he is Radha. So now there's a problem. Because Gadadhar Pandit, Radha is so ekantik to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Krishna, but Mahaprabhu wants to taste Radha Bhav, but Gadadhar's mood is so strong, they're seeing him as Krishna. So he had to give Gadadhar something to distract him. Just as a parent, when he sees a baby screaming and crying and wanting something, then he gives him a toy. And the toy distracts the child. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Gadadhar Pandit Tota Gopinath. And one day they were the place known as Yameshwar Tota, which is the Tota. Tota in Oriya language means a garden. It's a full Tota of Jambeshwar Mahadev, who's an ancient deity of Lord Shiva. It's a long story about him. He's one of the Pancha Mahadevs, the 5 most prominent deities of Lord Shiva in Puri. One day, they were sitting there at this Chatak Parvat, that sand dune, and Mahaprabhu was speaking with Gadadhar, and suddenly he said, "Hey, Gadai, would you do something for me?" And Gadadhar said, "Yes, my lord, what is it?" And then Mahaprabhu revealed under the sand the head of Gopinath. And there was Lalita and Radha. He said, "Would you take care of Tota Gopinath for me?" And this is the toy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave to Gadadhar Pandit to distract him so that Mahaprabhu can focus on his bhajan in the Gambhira. And just as, anyway, it's a big thing. Let's just stay with Tota Gopinath. We wrote a wonderful article about, we wrote an article, I know it's wonderful, but I like the topic anyway, about Chatak Parvat. And a little something touching on Tota Gopinath in our latest magazine. In our next magazine, I want to write something more about Tota Gopinath, very esoteric subject. And some of the purport of that place, which is where Srila Bhaktisiddhanta made his only temple that he established in Jagannath Puri. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was regularly going to that temple, Tota Gopinath, and we know according to Narahari Chakravarti, according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur from his writings, according to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, according to Srila Prabhupada in teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered into the deity of Tota Gopinath. So it's the Alpha and the Omega. It's the beginning, because Shriman Rasa Visadam Bhivam Sivata Datasi. It's a place where it all began. Gopinath's where it all began, and Gopinath's where it all ended. So Gopinath is our Prayojan deity. In Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he says that the Vijay Vigraha, the festival deity of Jagannath, that's Madan Mohan. So Jagannath is the deity of Madan Mohan, who establishes our sambandha, our relationship. And Tota Gopinath is a deity of Prayojan. He's our goal. And then he established the deities of Radha Vinod Madhav, not Radha Vinod Madhav, Vinod Madhav. In Market Radharani's name's not there. At Chatak Parvat, he said, these are the deities of Govinda. This is the deity of Abhideya. Something. There's more. But this, okay. Anything else to say?
I was just wondering, this is maybe a small question. I heard the mantra or song that said, and then I never heard anyone else sing it again, and they said it was from Jagannath Puri, and I was just wondering if you ever heard it, and if you knew if it was...
I have to stretch my legs, don't wait.
Ujjwal Hari Jagannath Prabhu Amar. Have you ever heard anyone chant?
Yeah, I've heard some people sing that.
And it's like Nila Chala Chandra Amar.
Yeah. Yeah.
This comes
It's
from Puri.
Ujjwala Hari. He's very effulgent. Lord Hari, Ujjwala Hari, Jai Jagannath. That's a common thing a lot of Gaudiya Vaishnavas sing. I'm not aware of any particular place where that's found, but that's a sadhu tradition. And we accept that as a nice song. Anything else to say? You had something cool?
So the one story you were explaining about how they were ecstatic, and their hands started shaking. There is also another story that Krishna...
In Dwarka with Rohini?
Yeah, they were explaining the same.
Yeah, my Guru Maharaj also told that story. And there's a third story, the most famous story Tamal Krishna Maharaj wrote about the what's his name, the architect of the demigods who came, Vishwakarma, and he carved the log, and but it was unfinished, and the king came. There's three different stories of Jagannath. Jagannath, just like there's different stories about the manifestation of Krishna, there's different stories, sometimes different details. Even if you read our Goswami literatures, if you read Ananda Vrindavan Champu, the details are a little different than what's said in Gopal Champu, and again, a little different than the Bhagavatam. If you read Lalita Madhav about Krishna's Dwarka pastimes, what he says is different than the Bhagavatam, and it's different than Garga Samhita. Jiva Goswami reconciles this. He says that there's different pastimes in different Dibya Yugas. And the Leelas happen in different ways at different times. Sanatana Goswami also speaks about this in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. He gives some interesting examples. He says that in Kaliya Damana Leela, sometimes Krishna dances on the heads of Kaliya by himself. Sometimes he reaches out his hand and he brings all the gopis onto the heads of Kaliya, and they do a Ras Leela on the heads of Kaliya. Sometimes, he says, the Nagapatnis, they've offered their uttariyas, their external cloth. He takes those cloths and he ties them into like a big knot, a big rope, and he puts the rope through Kaliya's nose, and with one hand he's playing the flute, and with the other hand he's riding Kaliya down the Jamuna like a highway. And he says, and sometimes he goes to Mathura riding on the back of Kaliya to visit Kamsa. Must be a big surprise to Kangsa. So the same pastime happening in different ways, in different Dibya Yugas, and Krishna gets more and more relishment from that. So there could be some answer with this. And this particular story that we told tonight, my Guru Maharaj called Three Logs of Wood, which we printed in a book, Embankment of Separation, which we're reprinting a deluxe version soon. That story, it comes from a very rare book which was discovered by a revered teacher of ours who passed away last year. His name was Fakir Mohan Prabhu. And that book is called Mahabhav Prakash. It's written by Kanai Kuntia. Kanai Kuntia was the head pujari for the Jagannath Mandir during the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He's mentioned twice in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Once on Janmashtami it said that he took the role, he played Nanda Maharaj. Mahaprabhu said, "You are Nanda Maharaj," whatever that means. And his deities of Radha Vrindavan Chandra are there on Kuntiya Sahi, not very far from the Gambhira. They used to let Western devotees inside. Last time I was there, they wouldn't let us in anymore. But anyway, very beautiful deities, very ancient deities. And anyway, Kanai Kuntiya wrote this book in a real language, of which it's been lost. And we only have one chapter, kind of like the Brahma Samhita, we only have one chapter of. And even in this one chapter, some of the words and verses are missing. Fakir Mumbu printed it. And anyway, in the beginning of that book, he says that I heard these things from the lotus mouth of Ramananda Roy in the Gambhira. And the book is all about the Mahabhav Prakash and how the form of Mahaprabhu is Mahabhav Prakash and how Jagannath is Mahabhav Prakash in the story.
So another part, sometimes we also say that Krishna, Balaram and Subhadra, they were at the Kurukshetra and all the Buddhism.
The Krishna?
They were at Kurukshetra.
Uh-huh.
And they pulled all the chariot. And now they were pulling to Vrindavan. And now how Puri comes into picture? Like, how?
Well,
So then, and that we call it as a actual Rath Yatra. So that all the pulling home after.
Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, they said that this Kurukshetra is none different from Jagannath Puri. But what does that mean? Kurukshetra is in UP. Jagannath Puri is in Orissa. Jagannath Puri is in the ocean. And Kurukshetra is, the base of the Himalayas. Going toward there. How is that? We shouldn't try to understand it in terms of geography or history. If we read Lalita Madhav, and you try to understand Lalita Madhav. Have you read Lalita Madhav? Okay, I won't speak about Lalita Madhav, but I'll just say some general things about it. If you try to understand Lalita Madhav in terms of history or geography, you're going to get a big headache. It just doesn't compute. It won't, because it's very different than what the Bhagavatam says. But Rupa Goswami in Lalita Madhav, he's not writing this pastime in terms of history or geography. The reality that he's writing it in is prem, is bhav, is a mood of love. And so, in a similar way, we should try to understand Lalita Madhav like that. We should try to understand our Goswami literatures through that window, not through the linear vision of history and geography. We'll just get a headache. But Kurukshetra is non-different from Jagannath Puri. The bhav is the same bhav. It's the same mood. It's a place of great opulence, but it's also a place of sweetness, because the Brijbasis are there and Radharani is there. And they're meeting. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he once said that at the end of his life, Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to go to Kurukshetra. And all the Rasik Vaishnavas were confused and astonished. He wants to go where? Kurukshetra, where all the elephants and the lakes of blood are at, and the armies, and then, what does he want to go there for? You want to go to Vrindavan, you want to go to Radhakund, you want to go to Vamsivad, you want to go to Govardhan. You don't want to go to Kurukshetra. What is that? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, those persons are Vairasik. They're not Rasik Janas. They don't understand what is real rasa. He said Bhaktivinoda Thakur wanted to go to Kurukshetra because he wanted to serve Radharani. And in Kurukshetra, Radharani's need is the greatest, because there's no Vrindavan forest there. There's no Jamuna River, there's no Govardhan Hill. And that service which is the most needed is the most appreciated. And that's why Bhaktivinoda wants to go to that place. And that's the mood of Jagannath Puri. Although the Purusha Bodhini Shruti, the Uttarva Veda says, Yata Bhargavi Jamuna Govardhana Ratna Samasana Bhimala Sadosa Chandika Sadosa Gopyaha. It says that the Bhargavi River is a Jamuna, and Chaturparvik is Govardhan Hill. And although Chakresa Govardhana Binda Katavi, Kalinda Jatiri Bhuvi Swayamiyam, Brihad Bhagavatamrita says that the Jamuna River, that Govardhan Hill and the Vrindavan forests are there. Although Vaishnav Tantra says, Mathura Dwaraka Lila Yakaroti Chagokuli Nilachala Sita Krishna Staeva Rachati Prabhu, that all the pastimes you'll find in Mathura, all the pastimes you'll find in Gokul, Vrindavan, and all the pastimes in Dwarka, you'll find all of those in Jagannath Puri. Although all those things are there, Vrindavan is there, we don't see it. It's in a hidden way. Because this is a chamber of separation. Is that okay? You get me going on this topic. It's the Puris.
We won't get you over that. For so many years I've been just praying like someone will get it.
Actually, I can say something about this also. My wife, she's been with me a long time. She likes our classes somehow, poor girl. But anyway, after about, 10 years or something, hearing some of these kathas, all of a sudden she came and said, now I get it. Now I understand this and this. It takes some time. I'm just throwing out all these verses and ideas, and it's like a lot of deep things. It requires some deep thought. It requires bhajan and puri. Anyway, I'm sorry, go on.
Maybe this is outrageous and controversial.
Good.
I think as you were mentioning, how Lalita went into she whispered into the ears of Krishna, Radhe, Radhe. Okay. I heard somebody saying that we chant Hare Krishna, just like three names of Rama, who's Krishna, like one name of Krishna, 1,000 names of Vishnu, one name of Lord Rama. And they say that three names of Krishna is one name of Radha. So is there any...
Where is that said?
I don't know. I'm just asking, is it true?
I've never heard that, but I'm not the personification of the Vedic literatures, so I don't know. But I do know that Brahma Vivarta Purana says something about this. I don't know if I can find it so quick. A question arises that if Radharani's name is so wonderful, then why do we chant Krishna's name? The Brahma Vivarta Purana describes Rasa Dotcharanadeva Spito Bhavati Madhava Dasa Dotcharata Paschat Davatyeva Sasambrahma. That as soon as someone says the syllable Ra, then Krishna, Spito Bhavati Madhava, Krishna becomes ecstatic. And then as soon as you say the syllable Da, Sabjotcharata Paschat Davatyeva Sasambrahma, then Krishna comes running after that person. So powerful are the two syllables Radha. If you say the two syllables Radha, Krishna will come running. So then why don't we chant Radharani's name? Did the GBC make a big mistake? Maybe you should write them a letter and change the mantra here. In Boston, we're not going to chant Hare Krishna anymore. We're going to chant Radhe, Radhe. And they say, why is this? There's a very good reason why we chant Krishna's name. If you chant Radha's name, Krishna will come running. But we have a better program. We chant Krishna's name, and someone else comes running. Radharani comes. And this is the kirtan of our sampradaya. A very, very esoteric thing. Although some people, especially in Gujarat, they like to sing this Radhe, Radhe, Sham Miladhe. You see them going around Govardhan Hill, Radhe, Radhe. Sham Miladhe, Radhe, Radhe, Sham Miladhe. That's not Gaudiya Vaishnava mantra. We don't sing that. If we were to sing that kirtan, we'd turn it the other way around. We would sing Krishna, Krishna, Radhe, Miladhe. Radhe, Radhe, Sham Miladhe means, oh Radhe, please give me Krishna. But our mood is, oh Krishna, give us Radha. We want the mercy of Radha. And if you go to Radharani, and when the gopis go to Radharani in the Kunj, they're not going to the Kunj and singing, Radhe, 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 Radhe. Radharani say, what are you doing? Stop making all that noise. Don't do that. Chant Krishna, Krishna. And they chant the names of Krishna, and Radharani gets so much pleasure, so much happiness from that. This is our kirtan. Our kirtan is meant to bring pleasure to Srimati Radharani through the medium of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's come in the mood of Radha, he's also not doing Radhe Radhe kirtan, he's doing Krishna Krishna because he's in the mood of Radha.
Since Krishna and Radharani, they are inseparable, then why did Krishna leave Vrindavan, or did Krishna leave Vrindavan
Vrindavana parityagya padikam nagachati. Krishna never takes one step out of Vrindavan. It's a bogus rumor. Cut that section out from the Krishna book about Akrura and all that. It's not true. But it is true, and it's said in the Bhagavatam. How do we reconcile this thing? We give a whole seminar. It takes us about a week. And there's 3 or 4 different explanations. How it is that Krishna left Vrindavan, but he didn't leave Vrindavan. There's a number of explanations. One is given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. All of them take a long time. One is given by Rupa Goswami and Lalita Madhav. Another explanation, my Guru Maharaj repeated something. It's said by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Dvitiya Chaitanya Ashtakam that Rasastomam Hritva, that Krishna entered into the heart of Radha to steal her love. How can he enter into Radharani's heart? Huh? She's known as Champak Varni Radha. She's the complexion of the champak flower. And you know champak flowers, such a nice flower. People in America and Russia, you don't know champak flower. You're very unfortunate. Such a nice flower. So very, very fragrant. It said that the champak flower is a golden flower. It's the color of Radha. It said that the champak flower blossoms under the rays of the moonlight. But that Chandra Sasadar, the rays of the moon, who can see how it enters into the champak bud, how it does that, how it makes that blossom. So similarly, Krishna, who's Chandra Sasadar, is like the moon, he entered into the heart of Radharani, but to do that, he applied heat. He applied the heat known as Vipralamba Agni, the heat of separation. And Radharani's heart melted. And when Radharani's heart melted, then Rasastomam Hritva, Rupa Goswami says in Dvitiya Chaitanya Ashtakam, that Krishna entered into the heart of Radha and stole her love. But when he stole her love, something got on him. Something happened. He stole that love and he came out of her heart. When he came out of her heart, everything was different. And Vrindavan was gone. And he looked down and his Shama Varna, his blackish complexion, had changed. And Shama Sundar had become Gora Sundar. His blackish complexion had become golden. When he took that love of Radha, because Radharani is Madhanakya Mahabhava Mayi. She's the embodiment of the last love, the highest level of love of God. The Snehaman, Pranaya Rag, Anurag Bhav, Ruda Mahabhav, Adi Ruda Mahabhav, Madhanakya Modanakya. She's the last limit, Madhanakya Mahabhav. And that Madhanakya Mahabhav has a color. It's the color of gold, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. And so when he took that love from the heart of Radha, that covered him. And therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that Sri Radha, Radha Bhava Dyuti means the complexion, Radha Bhava Dyuti Sivalitam, Nomi Krishna Sarupam. So he came out of the heart of Radha, and now he's golden. And now Vrindavan was gone, the Jamuna was gone, but there's another river, and it was the Ganga. The gopis were gone, and the Ras Leela was gone, but there's another group of people. Now they were males, and they were doing kirtan on the bank of the Jamuna. And Vrindavan Leela had become Navadvip Leela. And that's how Krishna never left Vrindavan. That's one answer. And there's others. And actually, see, one thing we should understand, when we speak about these subjects, these are Rajavidya, right? Krishna says Rajavidya is Rajaguyam. If you talk about the highest things, it's the most guyam. And then how do you understand it? Pratyek savagamam dharmyam susukam kartam avyayam. It has to be practically experienced through your sukh, through your ecstasy. It's realized through our bhajan. And this is why I've seen, just to be very frank, some Vaishnavas, they're very elevated, very wonderful. They've done their bhajan in Mathura or Vrindavan or Navadvip. And maybe they come to Jagannath Puri once a year. But they're Bhav, like Ayendra's Bhav. He's really Vrindavan. He's a Brijbasi person. Or other persons in Navadvip, Mayapur, that's the place. But that place where you do bhajan, if you do bhajan in that place, then that Dham reveals itself to the devotees. Especially we do, bhajan means doing bhajan on the guidance of Guru, for the pleasure of Guru. And then many, many secrets come. Many things come to our heart. And we can say so many things, but people won't understand unless they're doing bhajan like that. It's protected by that. And similarly, how Krishna left Vrindavan, it's a very, very deep thing.
Two fundamental questions.
I just wanted to share really quickly, it was this amazing explanation of Jagannath Rath Yatra by my friend Gopi Gita. They just did a wonderful Rath Yatra in Dallas, Texas, and they actually got together with the town and with...
We were there just before the Rath Yatra.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah,
Okay.
but not at the Rath Yatra.
And then I saw they had a wonderful coverage on the morning news.
Uh-huh.
And she said that Rath Yatra is reuniting with friends and family. So Rath Yatra is a family-friendly event in the mood of bringing home our troops.
Bring home our troops. You know what they called it? I saw in all their advertisements, they called it the Festival of Joy. It's a beautiful way to package it. Very, very nice.
I really...
Bringing home our troops.
I think that somehow that was a nice
In Texas, that's what you need to say.
Yeah.
It's really good. Prabhuji, yes, honey?
So the fundamental question is why Krishna's color is Shama?
It's a big. Each one of these different colors has some purport to it. Balaram is white, which is a color of Hasya Ras. And Radharani is golden, which is the color of Madhyaki Mahabhav. And Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that Krishna has a Shama Varna because that's the color of Unnata Ujjvala Rasa. That's the color of that Madhurja Ras with the gopis. That Sham Varna is that color. And it also manifests sometimes in other incarnations, but in Krishna in particular, it means that thing. So Krishna is that embodiment. He's the embodiment of that rasa, that condensed rasa of the Ras Leela. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has that on the inside. But Krishna has a greed. He has these three greeds. Because although he's Rasa Raj, he's the king of rasa, although he's Aptakam, he's completely satisfied, he's Atmaram, he doesn't want anything from him, he has everything he wants, still he feels unfulfilled. Krishna. He feels unfulfilled because there's three things he can't understand. And that's those three things I was mentioning earlier, the love of Radha, the pranaya mahima, the glory of her love. What is it that she sees in me in Sokyam Chashamana Bhavata? What is it, the happiness that she gets? He can't understand that because his position is God. And Radharani is a devotee. How can God understand the devotee? So...
What about Lord Ram's?
Sometimes Lord Ramachandra is described as also being blackish. Sometimes he's said to be greenish. I've marked that also. That he's also sometimes said to be in a blackish complexion. And he's so very, very beautiful. It may have something to do, I don't know any other further comments on this, just something comes to my mind. In Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Rupa Goswami says that there are three deities which are paripurna, which are complete. And he says it's Ramachandra, Lord Nrsingadev, and Krishna. And he says that Lord Nrsingadev, he's complete. He actually could have done the Ras Leela. Probably would have scared the heck out of the gopis. But he could have done that. But that's not his purpose in coming. And that's not the purpose of that form. And similarly, Lord Ramachandra, he's Maryada Purushottam. His purpose is to come and show proper Veda Maryada, and therefore he takes a vow of Ekopatni Brata. I'm only going to accept one wife. And he has that complexion, which comes out, as near as I can understand, for the pleasure of Sita Devi, and perhaps those sages in Dandakaranya forest who also see them as their Gopal. But it's only in Krishna who is a full manifestation of that rasa.
Lord Ram is not dark monster flower.
Ram's not?
He's not dark monster flower. His complexion is not dark monster flower.
Sometimes it's said like that he is. Other times it's said that he's greenish.
Yeah. Another fundamental question is why Krishna likes cows? Why not other animals?
One of other animals. Well, the cows, it goes beyond just the cows. Because Vrindavan is a land of cows, and the Brijbasis are gwalas. Such a sweet word, gwala. You know, they're the people who take care of the goats. They're the gopas and the gopis. And those cows are the most sattvic animal. The Shastra says, as we know, that when a living entity takes a human body, before the last animal body will be as a monkey, and that'll be someone in the mode of ignorance. A monkey will take birth as a human being in the mode of ignorance. A lion will take birth as a human being in the mode of passion. And a cow will take birth as someone in the mode of goodness. And if you see cows, they're just so sattvic. They're so nice. Even if you hit them with a car or something, that the cow doesn't start screaming and making all kinds of noise like a monkey or a lion or something. It'll just sit down feeling very hurt, and it goes internal more. Cows are very, very sweet and very, very special. And in Jiva Goswami and Gopal Champu, he says it's because of the cows that Krishna stayed in Mathura and didn't return to Vrindavan. Did you know that? How is that? And he said, because Nanda Maharaj, he came to Krishna and he said, we have to go back now. We promised Yashoda, we're going to go back. And Krishna said, Pita, what should I do? Vasudeva and Devaki and all the elderly people, the members of the Yadu dynasty, they're saying that I should stay here. And if I go back, then Shishupal and Dantavakra and all the demons are going to attack. And I have to protect them. But at the same time, I have to go back to Vrindavan. What can I do? And Nanda Maharaj, who has a very soft heart, he was thinking, and he accepted, you have to stay here. He said, then Krishna, I'll also stay here with you. And Krishna said, Baba, if I stay here and you also stay, what will happen to Mother? And then Nanda Maharaj said, we'll also bring her here. We'll bring all the residents of Vrindavan here. And Krishna said, Father, it's not possible. He said, the cows are our life. And he said, how many cows do we have? There's like 20 numbers or something. It's in the quadrillion. How many? Every day there's a few trillion cows being born in Vrindavan. It's unlimited. We wrote some article about this. Also Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur explaining how these unlimited numbers happen in a finite place of Vrindavan. All the universes appear within Vrindavan, Dham. It's a place where the unlimited manifests in a finite form. And so there's also unlimited cows and unlimited cowherd boys and gopis and so many. Anyway, so Krishna said, Father, how many, it'd be like if you take all the cows to Boston. How many parks do you have in Boston? Where the cows are going to have grass? In Mathura. How many parks are there in Mathura? Father, the cows are our life. We have to take care of those cows. And those cows, they represent also motherly love. They're, out of all the different animals, the love that the cows have is a very, very special love. It's said in the 6th canto of the Bhagavatam, the prayers of Ritrasura, Ajata paksha iva mataram kagastanyam yata vatsatarakshudharta, that I want to see you in the same way that a baby bird whose wings are not developed really wants to see its mother return with some food. Without that, he's going to die and he can't fly anywhere. In the same way, stanyam yata vat sattarak shudaita, that a small calf wants to see the mother, because that mother calf has so much love for the baby, and that love manifests in the form of milk. And this is why I know many devotees, they don't want to drink commercial milk, because milk means love. A mother, when she loves her baby, her breasts just start giving off milk automatically. But when you take the baby away from the mother, as they do in modern dairy farming with the cow, they take the baby calf away from the mother, they inject her with all kinds of hormones and things and force her to give milk. What kind of milk is that? That milk is full of stress. It's full of anxiety. Whereas the other milk is full of love. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says that in the Brahma Mohana Leela, when Krishna was drinking that milk from the cows of Vrindavan, when he manifested in the form of the calves that Lord Brahma had stolen, that he became intoxicated on that milk, because that milk is a personification of love. Just as we see a mother, her manifestation, her love is in the milk. So this is why many devotees don't want to drink commercial milk. Like, I can understand. It's not love there, it's anxiety and stress. And it does terrible things to our health. Those are the comments I could offer, but well, I don't know.
So there is also in scriptures it is mentioned that in the cow there are 23 crores of demigods.
All the demigods are there, yeah. That's another thought too. And Krishna's the Gopal, he's Govinda, he's the king of all the cows, and therefore he's the king of all the demigods also.
Yeah, yeah.
So Govinda Kund.
Does the cow fall into the category of like the species where we go to? Because they are very special. They are dear to Krishna, and in them like all the demigods reside.
Yes, out of all the different 8 million.
Transmigration, is there any evolution after the cows?
After the cow?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, according to Shastra, I think this is in Vishnu Purana, maybe Skanda Purana, out of the 8,400,000 species of life, there are 3 which after taking birth in that animal form, they'll become humans. The monkeys in the mode of ignorance, and the lions in the mode of passion, and the cows in the mode of goodness. But we can see there's different types of cows too, isn't it? You've seen the Deshi cows in Govardhan Eco Village and that, and they're so sweet. And they're just so, and then you see the cows, sometimes, have you ever seen the cows in Texas or someplace going to the slaughterhouse? They're also cows, but you look in their face and you can see the face of someone who was a McDonald's customer in their last life or something. They have that kind of karma. But still, someone could say that, oh, it's their karma. That fellow, that jiva ate so many hamburgers and killed some, therefore they have to take birth to get rid of that karma, and they have to be killed as a cow again and again. So I'm going to kill it. It's just their karma, it's not my. But Vedic culture is such a compassionate culture. We're not like the Yamadutas, or the followers of Yamaraj. We're examining everyone's karma and exactly according to rules, but rather there's mercy. And we that's inherent in the concept of caring for the cows. Even though they may have been some sinful person who killed cows in his previous life, therefore they have to take birth as a cow and be killed, we're not going to hold them to that karma. Okay?
You said that this is more of a practical question. You said that this requires bhajan, and it should be under the guidance of Guru and for the pleasure of Guru. But how can you give some practical advice? How can we even start it? What to do?
Well, you could go to your Guru Maharaj and you could say, Guru Maharaj, I decided, I thought deeply about it, and I don't know who Krishna is, so I decided I'm going to chant a new mantra in my japa beads. I'm going to chant Jai Niranjan Maharaj, Jai Niranjan Maharaj, Jai Niranjan Maharaj. And see what he says. You try it, it's an experiment. I suspect strongly he won't be very happy with you. So it's said that Tati Krishna Bhaji Kori Guru Sevan, that our Krishna Bhajan is our Guru Seva. And you can chant Gurudev's name. You may say that's really Rasik, chant Gurudev's name. But more Rasik than chanting Guru's name. You may say, I'll chant Radharani's name. That's very. But more Rasik than chanting Radharani's name is pleasing Radha. More rasik than chanting Gurudev's name is pleasing Gurudev. And Gurudev becomes pleased when we chant Krishna's name. And therefore, it's a very esoteric thing. Atashri Krishna namadi nabhavid grayam indriyai. According to Padma Purana, a very famous verse, we can't chant Hare Krishna. That's what the verse says. Very simply, very clearly. Atashri Krishna nama adi nabhavid grayam indriyai. Indriya means with your knowledge acquiring senses, you cannot chant Hare Krishna. Bas. But and then it goes on to say, Seva mukihi jivado, when you're doing service with your tongue, which, hello folks, by the way, the tongue is one of the knowledge acquiring senses, which the verse just dismissed, that you can't understand it with. Sevan mukhi jivado swayameva spirati, then it manifests. So what is it? It seems like a contradiction. And this is reconciled, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta says, in that our bhajan is not that, it's not that I'm chanting Hare Krishna and I'm chanting, and then all of a sudden Krishna, he's in the spiritual world, he's doing Ras Leela with the gopis, and all of a sudden he stops and Radharani says, what is it? And he says, oh, Madhavananda is chanting japa, I have to. It's not like that. It's not that we're going to attract Krishna's attention. And that Krishna, he's mugdha. He's completely bewildered by the gopis. He's not thinking about us. So then what is the medium, the way that we approach Krishna? We approach him through that form of Krishna himself, who's Acharya Mam Vijnana Nabhavid, who's the form of Acharya, the form of Sri Guru. That's also a form of Krishna, who's come to collect things. And he's collecting the worship of Krishna. That's the business of Gurudev. So we do that, although we can't chant Krishna's name on our own. This is the first question I had to my Guru Maharaj when I met him. I asked him, what is the difference between chanting with initiation and chanting without initiation? He liked the question very much. And he said that chanting without initiation, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur calls it Indriya Vyapara in his commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's just the senses engaged in the sense objects. Atashri Krishna namadi nabhavid grayam indriya. We can't perceive it. But when we take initiation, then we make a promise to Gurudev. I'm going to chant 16 rounds. I'm going to try, and Gurudev gives a lecture, 10 offenses. You don't commit these offenses. And then we're doing that, although we were chanting 16 rounds before initiation, right? I've never heard of an initiation ceremony in any Vedic mantra where somebody's chanting the mantra before they're initiated. Have you ever heard of that? I've never seen in our Harinam initiations in ISKCON, I've never seen the guru speak the mantra in the ear of the disciple, which is a tradition in Vedic culture. So how is it? Because Rupa Goswami explains that Sri Chaitanya Mako Girna Hare Krishna Iti Varnaka. The Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the Hare Krishna mantra to everyone. It's not necessary to get it by initiation. You can chant it before. But there's a difference in chanting it before initiation and after initiation. If we chant it before initiation, you can get really good results. You can get dharma, artha, kama, and even moksha. In fact, it's said that mukti tucha phalahoy nama basa hoite, we were mentioning the other day, that mukti or liberation, that's insignificant fruit of even nama bas. The best thing you can get, aside from those four things, is you can get bhakti, unmukhi, sukriti. You can get some pious benefit by chanting Hare Krishna. We spoke about this some last year here in a seminar we gave. So that's what you can get without initiation. But with initiation, one can get Krishna prema. And therefore, Raghunath Das Goswami, in his Mangalacharna to Mukta Charit, he begins by stating, Nama Shrestha Manamapi Sachiputra Matra. He said, I got Nama Shrestha, the topmost name from Gurudev. What do you mean the topmost name? In one sense, that doesn't make sense. Because Krishna, he's Advaya Tattva. He's one. So if you say Nama Shreshtam, it means the topmost name. Does that mean there's also Kebalanam? Does that mean that the name of Krishna is God, but only 5 days a week? On the weekends, he takes the days off and he's no longer God. Does it mean, what does it mean when you say Nama Shreshtam? Nama Shreshtam means the same name someone else is chanting, the same syllables, but it's a different mood. And that mood is acquired through intimate service to Gurudev. When we render intimate service to Gurudev by that chanting, by pleasing him in the chanting, then that mood that Gurudev has, our particular Guru, comes to us. And it comes through that chanting. Just like a mother feeds a baby through an umbilical cord, right? So, in the same way, we also have an umbilical cord which connects us to our Gurudev, through which he feeds us. This is that umbilical cord. You know umbilical cord in Russian? You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So this is our connection with Gurudev. And Gurudev will speak through us. Gurudev will inspire us. He'll give us things through this because this is my service to Gurudev. Gurudev gave me this. He gave me this mala. This is my connection with him. Those are some things about it. It's a very big subject. That answers something? Vrindavan Shri?
You mentioned that we don't chant Radha name, but at the same time, in Hare Krishna mantra, Hare says we approach Radharani.
Right.
Call your name, but in Vedic, like call your name.
There's different meanings, different purports given to the Hare Krishna mantra. In the Radha Tantra, it's said that the gopis and Radharani, they chant that same Hare Krishna mantra in the spiritual world. But they're not, Radharani's not chanting me, Hare, me, Krishna, me, Ram. She's not thinking of herself, but there it means Hare, it means Hari. But for us it means Hare. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in the end of Harinam Chintamani, he gives an anagram. An anagram is a kind of poetic structure where the first word of each sentence, the first letter of the first word, it goes in sequence. And so in this anagram, he's given Hare, and the next sentence begins with Krishna, and the next sentence begins Hare, and the next sentence Krishna, Hare, and then it goes through the whole Maha Mantra like that in the form of an anagram. It's a kind of poetic thing. So, and that we could call it a commentary, in that book which we would generally consider to be rather introductory, Harinam Chintamani, at least compared to Bhajan Rahasya and other things Bhaktivinoda has written, that prayer is very, oh my God, very intimate. I'll just say a little something what it says. I'm embarrassed to say, but it says that, oh Krishna, you're putting your hand in such and such place with Radharani. It's a very, very intimate thing. And I remember when we first read that, I was reading with a Bengali devotee who's friends with some of the Babajis, and we were trying to understand this. What is this? And then I realized what this means is that this is our bhajan for the pleasure of Radha. In other words, we're chanting this, that we're meditating, oh Radha, Krishna is touching you, oh Radha, Krishna is doing this, because that gives Radharani pleasure. We chant the Hare Krishna mantra in that way. And so Hare can mean different things. Just as Srila Prabhupada once, there was a controversy between a couple of senior devotees. One was saying that Ram means Balaram in the Maha Mantra. The other one was saying, no, Ram means Ramachandra. And maybe someone else might say Ram means Parshuram. Radha Parshuram, Radha Parshuram. All right. And Prabhupada, very interestingly, he said something which is not said by any of our acharyas, actually. He said, yes, that's okay. It can be Balaram, or it can be Ramachandra, maybe it could be Parshuram, why not? But Jiva Goswami, Raghunath Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gopal Guru Goswami, they've all given commentaries on the Hare Krishna mantra. And none of them have said like that. They say that Ram means Radhika Raman. It means Krishna. So in the same way, and I've read another commentary, it's a long discussion, how the Hare Krishna mantra also can indicate Gaunitai. That Ram can mean Nitai, and that Krishna can mean Krishna Chaitanya, and like that. So that's depending on how someone, you can understand the mantra in different ways according to your bhav. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Jai Rupa Chinche Dasi Se Rupa Hoy. According to the mood of a devotee, the Lord manifests a corresponding form. So that form also means a corresponding name. And we'll understand the name in a certain way. And some people, I guess, they'll see Radharani and Parshuram, or Radharani and Lord Ramachandra, or whatever. And other people, they'll see Radhika Raman. This is what our Goswamis have instructed us to do. So that mood again comes, Shushusho Shadadanasha Vasudeva Kataruchi, Shamahat Sevaya Vipra Punya Tirthana Sevana. By doing intimate service, Vishrambaina Guru Seva, doing service to Gurudev in a very, very intimate way, and trying to understand his pleasure, trying to understand his mood, serving him, then that kataruchi comes. And the kataruchi, that taste, evokes a certain attraction, for a certain mellow, and a certain understanding of the name. Okay? Huh?
But for now, for my level,
For our level, we see it as right, because that's for us. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a simple answer, which I should have said.
My question is about Subhadra, because I read in Krishna book that she
Oh,
appeared,
boy.
and how like she went to the spiritual world. I mean, I didn't find anything that she was there.
Well, she's the, what is Bhaktivinoda Thakur? She's the, not Devata, but anyway, she's in charge of all the Vaishnavas. She's a Kula Devata. Subhadra is a very mysterious person. Because either you may see her as Yoga Maya in Braj, or you may see her as Mahamaya. But either way, Maya means something which is not, and something which is very hard to understand. And this is the basic, I've had this question thousands of times from many, many different devotees. And there are some different things said about Subhadra, even after she was taken by Vasudeva from Gokul to Mathura, and Kamsa picked up that little baby and tried to smash her against the wall, and he got a big surprise when that baby manifested the form of his worshipful Durga Devi with all kinds of weapons in her hands and said, "Rascal, Badmas," guy. And she chastised, and then she went to the Vindhya mountains. In the Harivamsa Purana, there's some description there, what happened. She killed some demons while she was there. We know later she married Arjuna, we can say like that. But different things are said about her at different times. Sometimes it's said that she's the daughter of Vasudeva and Devaki. Of course, it's also said that Krishna is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. But our Goswamis have said that Krishna is actually the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. And sometimes it's all, Jiva Goswami says that when Vasudeva took Vasudeva, Krishna, who's actually a form of Narayan, who manifested and then became a baby again, took him across the Jamuna to Gokul. He couldn't see by Yoga Maya's potency that Yashoda had given birth to twins, a baby boy and a baby girl. And Krishna, Nandananda and Swayamrup Govinda was there. And he put that Vasudeva Krishna down on the bed, and that Vasudeva Krishna entered into the body of Nandananda and Krishna, and stayed there for 16 full years. It's another long discussion. And he took the little baby girl, who's all that he saw, and that's the daughter of Yashoda. So sometimes Subhadra is said to be the daughter of Yashoda. In some places it's said that she's the daughter of Vasudeva and Devaki. My understanding of this would be that both can be correct, because it depends on the mood of the devotee and how they see it. They see it in terms of a Mathura vision, which is mixed with knowledge and opulence, or if they see things in a Vrindavan vision. If we see things in a Vrindavan vision, then we'll see Subhadra as described in the Lita Madhav at the very end, and we'll see her in Vrindavan. Or if we see it in opulent way, we'll see her in Mathura. That's about all that they could say right now. There's some other stories and things, but it's very esoteric, very confusing, very, very hidden subject. And there's a reason for that. That's one thing we can safely state. If something's not stated very clearly in the Shastra, then that means it's something mysterious, right? Something which is hidden. And that's Subhadra, Yoga Maya. Yes, Senator?
It could also be said that in the same way Sita Devi appeared to Ravana, like
Right.
Mahamaya, but actually she's the Lord's internal potency. So to Kamsa, when Subhadra appears, it's like Durga, because his connection is with external energy, but it's not with the internal energy. Could it be seen like that?
Yeah, very good. It's perfectly put. Thank you. You had something?
Why Alarnath is called Brahmagiri?
Okay, Alarnath. Well, who is Alarnath? Alarnath is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says Alalanath, but nobody pronounces it that way locally, and I don't know what that word means. It doesn't mean anything in Sanskrit as near as I can figure. The traditional word is Alwarnath, that he's the Lord of the Alwars, and that originally Lord Brahma, when he came to install Jagannath, right, it was a big thing. I was asked by my Guru Maharaj to do a deity installation. It was the first service he told me to do in Bhubaneswar, to install Radha Gopinath. I spent 1 year meditating on it and practicing and learning mantras and things to do that, so I can understand a little bit of what Lord Brahma was going through. he had to install the deity of Jagannath Baladi Subhadra, so he's thinking, wow, I got to really prepare for this. So he sat down in that place and he started meditating on the Lord. And the Lord appeared before him in a Vishnu form. And it's a very esoteric topic, which would take me a long time to describe properly. There's something a lot more rasik about that form. But anyway, he appeared in a four-armed form, and that Giri means hill, became known as Brahmagiri, where Lord Brahma worshipped the Lord there, and that form of the Lord later became known as Alwarnath, now known as Alarnath, manifested before him. And that deity is also considered to be non-different from Jagannath, and they use the same type of worship, same rules. They don't allow Westerners inside. I went inside the Alarnath temple once with Radhanath Maharaj some years ago. We were there with his group, and we were going into the temple compound, and I saw Maharaj's mood, and he was just very, very ecstatic and just started running into the temple like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I thought, this is my chance. And there's all Indian devotees there with Maharaj. And Maharaj looks a little, he could pass as an Indian. So I wrapped my chadar around my head and arms. And I went, all of a sudden, I'm standing next to Maharaj right in front of Alarnath. And then one of the Pandavas, the pujaris, came up and recognized me. Madhavananda, what are you doing? Get out of here. But that's a very, very special place. And there's a reason why. It would take me a long time to explain. It's such a nice... We wrote a magazine about this, about Alarnath, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so ecstatic in front of a four-armed deity of Lord Narayan. And the answer is he's not really a deity of Lord Narayan. It's actually Gopinath. But it would take me a long time to explain that. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, therefore, he established deities of Gopinath at Alarnath, because that's Gopinath, Krishna. I would say that much. More would be hard right now. Anything else to say, Manaji?
I was wondering if there's any techniques you recommend for protection from negative or envious energies.
For? My hearing's so bad.
Oh, for protection from negative energies or people.
Well, the best thing that we can do is chant our japa. And that holy name is feared by fear personified. But when we chant our japa, we do two things. One, we keep it in a bag. Why do we keep it in a bag? Because there's a secret. Tribanga bangima rupam venuranga karanchitam gopi mandala madhyastam smarami nandanandanam. There's something going on in that bag. When we're chanting, right? There's 108 beads, and then there's one meru bead, right? Which represents Radha and Krishna. And what are those beads doing? Tribanga bangima rupam. They're going in a circle. That's the Ras Leela. And therefore, this is considered to be a kunj. And we want to hide that. It's also described in Hari Bhakti Vilas, because if we show our beads, especially while we're chanting, then sometimes there's some living entities, even some devotees, sometimes they become envious. Why is he chanting so much, or this or that? And we may lose some of the benefits of that chanting. So we hide that, and that protects us, and we protects our chanting. And there's another thing in our beads, right? We keep this finger out. Why do we keep this finger out? Has anybody ever wondered that? No? Do you know what this finger is called? This finger has a name in Ayurvedic medicine. It's called Bish Angul. Angul means finger, right? And bish means poison. This is the poisonous finger. Why is it the poisonous finger? Because this is a finger that you use to point at the temple president. That guy, he was doing this thing. Or you use to point at the pujari, or this one, and all the devotees from Estonia, they're nonsense. And that's the poisonous finger that we use to criticize people. So in this Ras Leela that's going on in this kunj, this bish angul has no place. So we keep this outside of there. So this mantra we chant for protection. And the Hare Krishna mantra will do everything. It'll protect us completely. But we also want to protect our bhajan. And therefore we keep it in a bag. And we don't speak to people about how many rounds we chant. We have a certain minimum number of rounds, and that's our contract with our Gurudev. We may chant more rounds, but that's between us and Gurudev, and we don't advertise that with everyone. Because if we do, we may give away some of the results of that. And then we'll lose some of our protection. We'll lose some of our bhakti, because Bhakti Devi is the greatest protection. Krishna Nam is the greatest protection. Is that okay? Okay. Prabhuji?
It's about the Mahamantra, like it depends upon the mode of the devotee, like how he understands the mantra, like we have to understand only whatever Father Guru says, what works on that.
Well, we can speak about things in an external way, and sometimes Srila Prabhupada stressed that. For example, in Germany, he met with one, it was like a sadhu, he had disciples. He was a professor in the university, he was a Buddhist, like a monk. And he came to Prabhupada, and he was asking Prabhupada about the difference between just theoretical knowledge and experience. And I was very fascinated to see that Prabhupada just kept insisting on the information side of it, and was dismissing this realization part of it, which is what the Gita speaks about, and all of our acharyas speak about. It's so important. We should have vigyan, or something realized. But Prabhupada there was stressing that. And so we should think about Prabhupada. We should think what he's doing. We should think about Gurudev. So I was thinking to myself, why is Prabhupada doing this? And I realized, well, this man, who is this man that he's speaking to? That's the first thing we should. He's speaking to this person according to that person's adhikar, their qualification. That person's not a devotee. That person's not practicing Krishna consciousness. And if you start talking to him about higher, intimate things, he's going to start speculating and start imagining things on his own. Whereas this is something which is meant to be acquired. So we can speak about it in both ways, in terms of we should take Bhakti Shastri, and you should learn so many verses from the Gita and pass tests and have all that information. But the information is not going to give you bhakti. But how do we get bhakti? Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayate. The Brihadaradiya Purana says it comes from sadhu. It comes from Gurudev. And therefore Chaitanya Charitamrita says that Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoya Sadhu Sangha. That the birthplace of Krishna Bhakti is Sadhu Sangha. And that means through serving sadhu, serving the sadhu guru in a way that pleases him. Vishrambena Guru Seva means that we become one with Gurudev, not in the way the Mayavadis do, but one with Gurudev, that we try to learn his heart. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his commentary in the Bhagavatam, he puts it in another way, he calls it Anubhav. That we're following, Anu means to follow, the bhav, the mood of Gurudev. We want to understand that mood. And how do we understand it? It requires, it's a price is there. You can't just walk up to him and say, Gurudev, Maharaj, what's your mood? Tell me what's your mood. He's going to say, I have no mood. He'll hide that. So to acquire that, we have to melt his heart. And we melt his heart by very humble, submissive service. And then we'll understand the Maha Mantra in a certain way. Okay? All right? Should we stop? I think we should stop saying it. Nobody's going to be here for Mangal Arti. Okay, very quickly, okay? I'll try to answer this quickly.
Shortly, I understood that we should try to please Guru with our service, which is chanting. And I don't understand why my chanting is pleasing to Guru.
Well, let me give you an example. Do you ever distribute books? And sometimes you meet a really nice person, and they say, what should I do? And you say, chant this mantra. And they repeat, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. How do you feel? You feel pretty happy, don't you, when they chant that? So just think, if you feel happy when they're chanting, just think how Gurudev feels when he sees us chanting. It gives him so much pleasure. Hmm? Why? Because he's happy. He loves Krishna. When you love someone, and you see someone else, if you have a husband, you really love your husband, and someone comes and glorifies your husband, you feel happy. Someone gives a gift to your husband, you feel happy. When we love someone and we see someone else glorifying them or giving something to them, we feel happy.
Usually when we chant Gayatri Mantra, we also
This is-
like when we chant Gayatri Mantra, we usually
We hide it. Yeah. Yeah, same thing. Same exact thing. That we don't want to show that. And we don't want to show that. We're not trying to advertise it. I'm a Brahmin, you know. nor that I'm chanting so many rounds. And also we want to protect it. We don't want some subtle influences to take it away. Of course, if you're chanting purely, you don't have to worry about that anyway. Prabhupada sometimes had beads out of the bag. He was chanting for initiation or something. We don't pay so much attention to that. But that's one reason why we have our bag and why we cover our hand. So two reasons are there. One is that we don't advertise our personal bhajan. And the second is more of a smarta, Brahmin kind of reason, that these subtle ghosts and whatever don't take away some of the benefits of our chanting. Okay?
No, since on the similar lines, last. Because she asked about the Gayatri Mantra. Do we have to chant mentally? Gayatri Mantra and also
The Gayatri Mantra. It's
sometimes some people.
generally it's said the Gayatri Mantra is spoken softly. And one thing we can understand with the Gayatri Mantra, which is never explained by Srila Prabhupada, interesting thing to me, neither Prabhupada nor Bhaktisiddhanta ever explained the meaning of the mantra or said very much about it. Obviously he wanted devotees to become Brahmins, and we know the Gopal mantra is the most important mantra, which grants one entrance into the Braj, in the Kunjas of Braj. But one just very external kind of benefit we get by chanting Gayatri Mantra, by chanting that silent mantra, it makes us more subtle. So that when we chant Hare Krishna, our mind becomes a little more subtle. From chanting Gayatri, we can hear the Maha Mantra more. And there's three ways we can chant the Maha Mantra. We can chant very loudly, like in Kirtan, we can chant softly, or we can chant in the mind. We can also chant Gayatri in the mind, but generally, you can see pictures sometimes of Prabhupada also, his lips are moving, and he's speaking very softly, the Gayatri Mantra when he's chanting. Okay? Shall we stop, boss? He's in charge. I don't...
Thank you. No, honestly, we are so filled with gratitude in our heart. I told the way I express about you that you can die just hearing from you in your body. And I think I did not exaggerate.
Yeah, I hear that a lot of times. A lot of people say hearing from you is like dying.
But after listening to you about the Jagannath stories, I want to stay like maybe 1 month in Jagannath to understand all of this.
Will you come with us? I can tell you one thing. Just like recently we were in Mayapur, and there's a group of, they have so many different groups of devotees, Russian devotees, and the Russian devotees asked me to give class, and the Spanish devotees asked me to give a class. So when I was speaking to the Spanish devotees, they said, Prabhuji, talk to us about Jagannath Puri. And I told them, I said, that's okay. I said, but I'm in Mayapur, and it doesn't come naturally here. Here I should talk about Mayapur, right? In Vrindavan, you talk about Vrindavan. If I talk about Jagannath Puri in Vrindavan or Mayapur, some people are going to feel, because they're attached to Mayapur or Vrindavan. So when we're in the Dham and we speak about it, wow, it really manifests. And it manifests with the chanting of the holy name. And it manifests when we render service to the devotees in a very sweet way. And Prikrama, Mataji knows, she's walked with us in Vrindavan. A few of you walk with us in Jagannath Puri. It's a very wonderful thing. And not just we go there, but we go there doing kirtan. And we don't just do kirtan, we do katha. And we render service to the devotees in the Dham. And then the Dham reveals itself, maybe in the form of a spurti, where it's said in Skanda Purana, Lord Shiva was doing bhajan a place now known as Chandanpur, just the outskirts of Puri, and he saw Vrindavan and the Jamuna River. And we hear Gopal Kumar, he saw Vrindavan in Puri. And Mahaprabhu saw Chatak Parvik as Govardhan. And in Jaiva Dharma, the devotees, they saw Vrindavan in Puri. We may have a spurti like that and actually see it. Or in another way, it may manifest in our heart. We may begin to understand the mood of that place and the devotees. So please come and walk with us in Jagannath Puri.
Yeah, sure. I
Okay.
think my place is closed, not closed. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Binda ki, Gwapremanandi Hari, Vancha Kalpadaribhishcha.
Madhavananda Prabhu ki, Madhavananda Prabhu ki, Hari Bol.
Srila Prabhupada ki.